Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Music Mondays podcast. I'm your host, Zomslays. Welcome on in, my friends. Happy motherfucking Monday. How are we doing? Today is May 20th, 2024. I'm your host, Zomslays, man. How we doing? How's everybody? Is everybody chilling on this fine Monday? This is episode 174 of the Music Mondays podcast, and I hope we're all chilling. Hope we're all well. So, let's get it, man. We have quite the amount of submissions. We have a lot to go over this week. We're gonna talk album stuff. We're gonna talk reactions, of course. We're gonna go over some weekly recap jazz. You guys know the drill, man. You guys know the motherfucking drill. Chat, how are we doing, man? How are we doing? What's cracking? Jay, what's good? I hope you're well. What's going on? Happy Mondays. Start the stream. I had to get some coffee. I had to, you know. I had to get a couple things ready before we jumped on. But I hope you're well, my friend. What's going down? Doing great. That's what I like to hear. That is exactly what I like to hear. So, all right. Where should we start? So, let's do some weekly recap stuff. And like I said, I'm your host, Sam Slays. This is episode 174 of the Music Mondays podcast. So, let's go over some weekly recap jazz. We're going to get into some album talks, and then we shall get into some reactions. So, like I said, today is May 20th, 2024. I feel like May absolutely fucking flew by for some reason, and I'm just not... I'm not sure why or how. I'm not exactly complaining, right? But it was definitely a fast month for some strange reason. But yeah, let's get into it, my friends. So, as you all know, Music Monday's basic logo t-shirts are in stock right now at limited sizes and quantities of smalls, mediums, and larges. Just a few pieces left, so if you want to purchase one, definitely send us a message or a DM. Very important. So you guys know the drill there. Last Monday we kicked off with some Patreon appreciation. April 2024 Patreon appreciation is live right now on all socials. Huge shout out to all of our patrons across all tiers. You guys are fucking amazing. Even all of our followers, man, you guys are awesome. So thank you for the love as always. Huge shout out to Kruker, Dry My Eyes, Ryuki, Mark, Jordan, and Blank Thought. You guys are awesome. Thank you for continuing your Patreon pledges. You guys are amazing. So that was Monday. We rolled into Tuesday and Wednesday with submissions opening for SoundCloud Sunday, as well as this week's podcast. So of course, as you may know, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are submission days. So make sure you get your tracks in ASAP Rocky. So that was Tuesday, Wednesday. We rolled into Thursday last week with a brand new YouTube upload. During episode 172. During episode 172 of the Music Mondays podcast, we sort of went over a interesting topic where we kind of discussed, does the quality of your setup matter, right? Do you need like a $2,000 setup? Do you need all this types of gear and da-da-da-da-da? So we kind of dove into that and kind of discussed that for a bit. So definitely go check that out, because that's a pretty useful video as far as, debunking that topic of like, oh, you should be using like a Shure microphone, and you should be recording in this space and blah, 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 blah. Like, so we kind of dive into that, and that's a good one. So definitely go check that out. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel, man. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good stuff is available over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists in the channel some motherfucking love, man. We're like 4 subs away from 280 as well, so definitely sub to the channel. So that was Thursday. We rolled into Friday with a brand new interview by Music Monday's staff writer Jaded. That's a really cool conversation. So if you haven't had the chance to go check that out, definitely go check that out, and the rest of our pieces over there on allmusicmondays.com. Huge shout out to Jay. Thank you so much for getting that piece in and actually fucking killing it. So definitely go check that out and go show Jay some love. Absolutely. And then following that on Friday, Curing Cases of the Mondays has finally been announced. For those of you that don't know, that is our second SoundCloud exclusive album where we kind of collect unreleased music from artists and kind of put it together in a compilation album for the community to enjoy. And submissions are live right now. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But if you want more information on that, definitely go check out the submission tweet and information on our socials. But we're going to be going over that in a minute anyway. But Curing Cases of the Mondays Collection 2 submissions are open. So definitely get your tracks in. I know we already got like 3 or 4 over the course of the last couple days. So definitely get your tracks in because I think submissions close, I believe, sometime early June. I think around the 7th or something like that. I think we... yeah, it's about the 7th. Yep. So definitely go check that out and go get your motherfucking tracks in, man, because I'm really excited for this next project. This is going to be one that you'll kind of hear me talk about over the course of the next few shows. Definitely, you'll see some trailers come out, much like the first album. So we'll kind of do like a really cool rollout for that, 100%. But expect that, and definitely go check that out. So we actually had a pretty busy Friday, if I'm being honest with you. So after that, Workshop Wednesday, episode 5, premiered on our YouTube channel. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with Workshop Wednesday, that is our one-on-one segment where we sit down with artists, creators, producers, engineers, and they kind of show us their process, right? Whether you're a producer, and you want to show us how you break down beats and things like that. So episode 5 is live right now with the homie Kale. Kale kind of walked us through how they use samples in certain instrumentals and things like that. So Workshop Wednesday episode 5 is available right now, and definitely go check that out and go show Kale some love, man, for sure. You can expect a lot more of those to be appearing on the channel, as well as Feature Friday. Feature Friday being its kind of brother segment where we kind of sit down one-on-one and interview artists, right, away from the Music Mondays podcast. Because many of you know we are kind of like half a podcast, half a reaction show. Because the first half of the show is usually just Music Mondays updates. We kind of get to discussion segments and things like that. And then we go into reactions. So it would be kind of hard to stuff an interview in the current Music Mondays format. So I'd really just rather dedicate a full different series for artists so that way they can actually have a chance to like fucking tell their story without us being like, okay, time to roll into some fucking reactions. You know what I mean? I feel like it takes away from the artist. So I kind of want to dedicate those to like a separate thing. But Workshop Wednesday and Feature Friday, you'll be seeing a lot more of those on the Music Mondays YouTube channel for sure. But definitely go check out episode 5, Workshop Wednesday. That's a banger. Quick little comeback. I like that one. Shout out Kale. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. We're dropping literally 2 times a week. So that was Friday. Like I said, we had a really busy Friday. But we rolled into Saturday with episode 173 of the Music Mondays podcast, available on all socials. So for those of you that missed it, definitely go check that out. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that good jazz. Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts, it's there. So go check that out. And a huge shout out to everybody that submitted, tuned in, and showed love for episode 173. You guys are awesome. Thank you. So we had a somewhat of a quick Saturday, and then we rolled into Sunday, and we dropped SoundCloud Sunday Volume 135. 135. You know, we're really getting into those higher numbers, and one of the Music Monday staff members pointed out last week, like, people just really enjoy SoundCloud Sunday. So that's what kind of makes me excited to get started on the Spotify end of things. But of course, I want that to be done properly as well. I don't want to just be like, yeah, dude, just drop your Spotify links, and then, you know, have it conflict with SoundCloud Sunday, and, you know, not be able to, like, properly curate it. So that'll be an idea that we have somewhere placed in 2024. But for now, SoundCloud Sunday is your premier go-to playlist for SoundCloud. So definitely go check that out, and definitely go show that some love for sure. That was curated by me this week, along with art by 63. So huge shout out to 60. Thank you so much for the love and the art, of course. So that was Sunday. We rolled into today, Monday, May 20th, 2024, episode 174. We're live, we're chilling, we're here. So that was your weekly recap. but I think it's time to get into some somewhat of a discussion segment, right? I think it's definitely time to have a little chat, and we can kind of update you guys on what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week, and all that good stuff. So, per usual, Music Mondays is recruiting. We are on the hunt for writers, journalists, curators, designers, content creators, anybody who wants to do short form and long form content. Definitely get in contact with us because we'd love to have that conversation with you, and we'd love to have you on the team. So we are searching for all roles right now. And if you like any more details on Music Monday staff roles, we have a great video guide on our YouTube channel where I kind of break down all the roles in further detail and what's expected of you and things like that, and all that good jazz. So definitely go check that out, or feel free to send us a message, and we'll be happy to have that conversation with you 100%. So, Music Mondays is recruiting, and of course, we are looking for SoundCloud exclusives. So, not only, I can't believe today is actually Music Monday. Let's fucking get it, bro. So, not only are we curating SoundCloud exclusives for our current album, which I'll talk about here in a second, but we are also looking for singles as well. We always are looking for singles. So if you're interested in getting a SoundCloud exclusive track hosted on our channel, definitely get in contact with us. We're only interested in unreleased tracks. So of course, feel free to do whatever you want with the release afterwards. If you want to go put it on all stores and things like that, that's fine too. But again, we're only interested in the unreleased version of your track. So, we are also looking for YouTube exclusives, right? So if you have a music video, if you have a lyric video, if you have a visual, or even if you just want to get some audio on the Music Mondays YouTube channel, definitely let us know. And again, we're only interested in exclusive audio, so has to be unreleased. And of course, feel free to do whatever you want with the release afterwards. But if you'd like to get your visual music video or lyric video hosted on the Music Mondays channel of almost 300 subscribers, definitely get in contact with us and let us know if that's something you're interested in. And of course, always for free. We're just interested in hosting and archiving a little bit more music on both of our channels. So SoundCloud and YouTube, definitely let us know if you're interested in getting hosted, and of course promoted across all of our socials for free. So definitely let us know. So recruiting, exclusives, those two things are very, very important. And then we're gonna talk about what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. So realistically, like I've been saying over the course of the last couple weeks, we're going to be heavily focusing on our album. So like I said, we are officially curating and opening submissions for Curing Cases of the Mondays Collection 2, which is our second exclusive album. So that's very exciting. And of course, we have a couple of plans afterwards. We have some more merch promo coming out, and we're going to be planning Cyberfest 2 for the summer here shortly. So lots of cool and fun stuff coming. But like I said, the big picture here is definitely our next album. So that'll be something you see us kind of focus on for the rest of May, and realistically for early June as well. And then you'll see some more smaller stuff come out per usual. Of course, like I said, our YouTube channel is going to still continue to get a ton of love. Your weekly and monthly content is going to stay the same, right? YouTube uploads, articles, playlists, and things like that. That'll all stay the same. But in addition to all that, we will be kind of hunkering down on album stuff and making sure that people are aware that we are curating for the album. So that's what's coming up on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. That's kind of like what we're heavily focusing on. But that's your weekly recap. That's what's coming up over the course of the next week. But I kind of wanted to get into a little bit of detail here. So, I think it's time we can finally talk about it, man, because the art has officially dropped. We are officially curating and accepting submissions for the next Music Mondays album, Curing Cases of the Mondays Collection 2. So, let's talk about it. This whole concept has a lot of history. So, I'm kind of excited to talk about it. Chug some coffee real quick, and let's get into it. So, Music Mondays has grown exceptionally well over the course of the last 2 years. Because the Music Mondays podcast was originally founded in 2021. So eventually we became our own platform after the podcast and things like that. And I decided to fully expand on a lot of that. Essentially, when 2022 rolled around, that was when I kind of had an idea to start curating for our first album. Now, granted, it might have been too early back then, but I mean, we still put out like 11, 10 track album pretty well at our size. I think we only had like 700 followers at the time on Twitter. So we were pretty small, but I think we did pretty well for our first project. And a lot of the new faces that are around now and are Music Mondays pretty much veterans at this point and regulars have no idea that that album even exists. So that's kind of why I want to talk about it a little bit and to give a little bit of background on Curing Cases of the Mondays and how this kind of actually came to light, right? So it took a while for me to kind of fully act on another collection because the first collection went really well, but I didn't really want to like harp on that idea too much, right? Just because it's like, how many albums are you really going to curate and drop, throughout like one fucking year? Probably not a lot, at least maybe one if you're lucky, right? So that's kind of what we did. And then 2023 was a lot of growth as far as the team, as far as the rebrand goes. We switched our logo. So 2023, we kind of took an off year there. And then heading into 2024, I wanted to make this like a priority. Because by the time last year ended, I was like, fuck, man, we got to do another album. And now we've pretty much doubled in size. And now we have somewhat of a bigger audience, right? And it's just a really cool opportunity to actually get the community involved, right? I think this is just a new idea to a lot of people, and they just have like I said, zero idea um that this even exists, right? So that's kind of the backstory and the lore on Curie Cases of the Monday Collection 1. If you haven't heard the first collection, definitely go check that out. But that's not really what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is Collection 2, Curie Cases of the Mondays. So, submissions are live. If you're interested in submitting for our second SoundCloud exclusive album, we have a couple guidelines. We have a couple dates that you should know about. So let's talk about it. So official submission guidelines go like this. Submissions must be unreleased. So as many of you know, this is a SoundCloud exclusive project. Doesn't really make sense for the song to be on your page and our page as well, when listeners can just go to your page. So the whole point is to really promote this group of artists or any solo artists, right? And to just show our audience some love. And it's a way to give back to you guys as well, because of course we're going to promote it and host it on all of our socials for free. So that's kind of the logic behind that. So of course, submissions must be unreleased. Vocal and instrumental tracks are welcome. So again, if you're a producer, you are not you're absolutely included. I think we had like 2 or 3 instrumentals on the last project, at least 2. So definitely no exceptions there. Everybody's welcome. All genres are welcome as well. So all vocal tracks, all instrumental tracks, and all genres are welcome. And the last major thing that you should really know is submissions close on midnight Eastern Standard Time, June 7th. So realistically, there's about 3 weeks left. So you could really cook up a track from scratch right now and still have plenty of time. But as of me recording this and we're sitting here live, today is May 20th. So again, it's about 3 weeks or so until June 7th. So again, midnight Friday, essentially June 7th. So make sure you get your tracks in, and make sure if you have any questions or anything like that, join the Music Mondays Discord, send me a message, send the Music Mondays account a message. But you'll see a lot of stuff kind of go up for this because we dropped the official cover art that me and Jaded actually works on. So huge shout out to Jaded. But the art is live now, and like I said, we'll kind of be cooking up a few trailers for the project and kind of get a little bit more awareness happening and let people know that we are curating for the next few weeks. So again, if that's something that you're interested in, you want to cook up a track for the project, you want to get on the project, make sure you let us know. Make sure you get your tracks in because we'd love to have you on Curing Cases of the Mondays Collection 2. Um, Eventually, like, the ultimate goal with some of these full albums too is like to get actual, like, whether we do CDs, we do cassettes, we get something pressed up, right? I think that's really the ultimate goal here. But I actually just want to get enough attention on them so people might actually be interested in something like that. But for now, we're just heavily focusing on curating and submissions for this next project. So again, pretty much everything goes. No genre restrictions. Producers and vocalists alike are allowed, and submissions close on June 7th at midnight. So again, once the clock is on midnight, submissions are cut off. We're going to put together the track list. We're going to see who's in, who's out. Then we're going to announce the project, and then we're going to drop the following week. So June 7th is your date, my friends. Is your date. So I'm excited, man. And again, if you have any more questions or anything like that, make sure you join the Music Mondays Discord. Send Music Mondays a message any of the Music Mondays staff, and they'll be happy to help you with pretty much anything, to be honest with you. So I hope to see a lot of you guys submit tracks, and if you don't, make sure you go support any trailers or any cover art you see. Because again, we have quite the amount of time. I mean, realistically, the project isn't going to drop for about a month. So we wanted to give enough time, but we didn't want to give too much time as to where, like, a month long of open submissions is kind of long, but I mean, 3 weeks is like plenty of time. So that's why we kind of capped it off at 3 weeks. But again, this will be uploaded on the Music Mondays YouTube channel. So definitely make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go show this video and the channel some love. Drop some comments, drop some likes. Even if you're just watching the video, that's great. And again, if you have any questions, join the Discord. Send us a message. And of course, subscribe, baby. Let's fucking get it. So yeah, man. That's that. Big Betsky. Uh-huh. So, Curing Cases of the Mondays Collection 2 is finally happening. Very exciting. I'm happy about that. Very, very happy about that. So that's about like the majority of our like super important discussion segments here. And of course, I actually didn't even mention that we have a new background that, like, this should have been changed quite a while ago, but I've always gotten used to like the old background that we had. But of course now we have the new background on stream, so stream graphics and things like that will definitely be getting updated, just because I have a bunch of new emotes that just like aren't even released yet that I gotta get into motion and things like that. But that's that, my friends. That's that. So you guys know the drill. Let's get into it. Let's go talk about some reactions. Let's go see what we got for submissions this week, man. Because I know we are decently stacked, and we got some Patreons to get through as well. So huge shout out to all of our Patreons over here on Music Mondays. Let's fucking get it, babies. So, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So, for those of you that are new here, tweets are always in the same format. The only thing that essentially changes here is the date. Nothing too crazy. But again, if you're interested, make sure you just check the date, and you should be good to go to drop any submission that you'd like. But like I said, submissions are always in the same format, and they'll always read artists and creatives. Submissions are open for live reviews on Music Mondays, live on May 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/ZonPlays, which is here and now. If you'd like to submit your music, artwork, fashion, or digital creation, drop your links and portfolios below. All art forms are welcome. For our show limit, must be following Music Mondays on Twitter to eligible. Patreon subscribers submissions are played first every week. So, essentially, contrary to our name, Music Mondays, we've pretty much reacted to everything here on the show, from vocals to instrumentals to YouTube edits to merchandise to photography to videography. We've quite literally reacted to everything here on the show. So feel free to submit whatever you'd like, because, of course, many creatives in the underground are multi-talented, right? A lot of vocalists are also producers. A lot of producers are also engineers. A lot of engineers are also graphic designers. Like, we already know how it goes, right? So feel free to submit whatever you like. That's always the standard. And of course, for our show limit, just because we are one of the only weekly live shows here on Twitch, makes it a little bit more easier on us and makes the show a little bit more palatable to watch back, right? Because sometimes a 4+ hour show is a little bit crazy to watch back if you don't just like put it on in the background and just let it play. but it's a little bit better compared to our earlier shows where we used to do 6-7 hours of straight reactions, and those are definitely hard to watch back. So I feel like 3-4 hours is like a good cap, right? Because that's something you could like easily just throw on in the background and just let it run through. But anything longer than that starts to just kind of be a little bit of a drag. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was definitely crazy. It was definitely crazy. I think the longest episode we did was like 7+ hours, but that was like before even episode 100. You know what I mean? I think the most submissions I've knocked out in one night is probably like 35 plus or something like that. Maybe something close to 40. But yeah, some of those shows were really exhausting. I mean, for obvious reasons, right? Because we are a weekly live show. It's not like we're doing this like once a month. You know what I mean? Because then maybe you could like justify it, right? Like having like a super long show once a month, but that's not how I wanted to do the show. That's not how we've done the show for 174 episodes, right? We're live every single Monday. I think I've missed like 4 days, maybe 4 Mondays, 5. And I think a couple of them were because like I fucking like my power was out or I was like moving or something like that. You know what I mean? It was always like real IRL shit. Um, but yeah, back to the point. So that's kind of the logic behind the 4 hour show limit, just to make it a little bit easier on us and a little bit easier to watch back as well. Just not as crazy, right? Um, and of course, you must be following Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. And submissions are free. They always have been. They always will be. But the only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter before you submit. Not only to help spread our message and send us some support, but of course, just to show respect to everybody else that does follow Music Mondays and does wait for their submissions to be reacted to every single week. And of course, you gain access to a wonderful network of creatives, a lot of really, really consistent independent underground artists. So kind of a win-win in my book, if I'm being totally honest with you. But again, submissions are always free. So that's the only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter before you do submit. And of course, Patreon subscriber submissions are played first every single week. So if you're subscribed at the Music Mondays Patreon at any tier, the $5, $10, or $20 tier, you gain access to the Music Mondays Fast Pass. And of course, a bunch of other goodies, but the main logic here is the Music Mondays Fast Pass for the duration that you're subscribed to the Music Mondays Patreon allows you to get your submissions played first every single week. So again, essentially, if you subscribe right now and your Patreon pledge lasts until June 20th, so pretty much for that duration of time, you can get your submissions played first every single Monday. And of course, you're supporting Music Mondays in the long run, right? That's kind of how we funded our merch. That's how we keep the lights on here. Everything we make goes right back into Music Mondays. So all the patrons are like a really great help, right? Because it's not like I'm sitting here fucking ordering DoorDash and fucking, you know what I mean? Like all that bullshit. Like 100% of what we have goes right back into the platform. Website costs. You're talking about social media. You're talking about merch. So a lot of that stuff is not only self-funded out of our pocket, but the Music Mondays Patreons always help with that as well. So that's also what you're doing when you pledge to the Patreon. So it's always a big help for us. But of course, don't feel pressured. We never want you guys to feel like you have to go subscribe to the Patreon, right? It's just always there if you want to. You know what I mean? That's why submissions are always free and things like that. But we just wanted to hook the Patrons up with something pretty exclusive that you can only gain access with over there. Especially with the logic of the 4 hour show limit, right? Because sometimes, people's submissions might not get played and things like that. So if you're a person that wants your submissions played first at the peak of the show when we have our highest viewership, or be the first track, or you just want to make sure that you get in there, that's a great way to do so as well. So again, definitely go check out the Patreon because we have a couple of other goodies over there that are pretty stacked. Not just the Music Mondays Fast Pass. There's a ton of stuff over there. And huge shout out to all of our patrons that are currently subscribed. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, outside of that, I think the last thing we got to mention is submissions do close a couple hours before the show starts. So again, submissions open every single Tuesday. So if you're watching the show live, submissions open tomorrow, the 21st. If you're watching this on YouTube or anywhere else, submissions are already open. So make sure you go check the date and get your tracks in. But again, like I said, submissions close a couple hours before the show starts, just so we can get a quick head count and just to make sure that we don't get any late submissions that kind of mess up the order and things like that. And we are a live show, right? So we like to keep things free flow and just to make sure that we don't get any rogue submissions, right? And you pretty much have like 6.5 days to get your submissions in anyway. So I mean, 6 days is literally, you could submit anytime you want. You know what I mean? So no pressure. But outside of that, that's pretty much everything you need to know about the Music Mondays podcast, my friends. And of course, if you have any more questions, we have a great how to submit guide on the Music Mondays YouTube channel, where we kind of break down the podcast, why we collect submissions on Twitter, the logic behind that, and things like that. If you want any more history on the Music Mondays podcast, right? So definitely go check that out and go show that some love. But you guys know the drill. Let's see who's submitting first, whose Patreons are coming through. Well, let's see what we got here. I know we have a stack of artists that don't follow Music Mondays. Okay, there's one Patreon. Dry My Eyes is up first for sure. And then 2 Patrons, that's Jordan. So I have 2 Patrons tonight, and then we'll go into the rest of the community. But yeah, we have quite the stack of artists down here that do not follow Music Mondays. So friendly reminder, again, submissions are free. They always have been free. They always will be free. The only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter before you submit, because again, your submissions will be skipped in favor of the people that are following directions. So again, just a friendly reminder. And of course, make sure you drop a follow and submit next week, man, because we'd love to have you on the show. But again, we also have to make sure that we take care of our Music Mondays community and anybody new who does discover the show, right? Because that's important. So again, feel free to follow and resubmit next week, and we'd be happy to have you. So first submission of the night, first patron of the night, the homie Dry My Eyes. Now, this is a insanely consistent artist. Like there are very few artists out here that are doing work like this and really just having fun. Like, this is an artist that definitely has fun with a lot of their work, and this is what I like about this. But a wonderfully talented vocalist, Dry My Eyes, submitted What the Fuck Is Even? Rod Wanderlust Beats. Let's go check this out. Let's pop this open, a new tab, and let's see what we got. Because I am down for the cause, my friends. Hold on, let's give that a quick pause. Move this over here. All right. I puked before recording this. I feel like everybody does that at least once, and like they're fucking they're like recording, what's it called, like just journey. Like I feel like that's a very like just the thing that happens, From the new album, so we got some lyrics in the description. Let's get into it. Dry My Eyes, What the Fuck Is Even? This is like the 10th time, Obi.
Lucrative and finite, you cannot suppress a lie. Lucid the entire night, stupid as it's sodomized. Speaking, you get out of mind, chilling them Hawaiian night. It's cooler than a Klondike. Stupid, you get traumatized, improvement inclining. Did it since like 99, how be feeling climbing? Living on a higher earth. For me, once it's bound to happen, wrestling twice in avalanches. Baby, dollar shit is slapping, tell me about no camera measures. I be on the camera.
Oh, shit.
The impressions aren't impressing me, I write for the message, I slip professional. You cannot accustom connections to what mission. In my flows, I would have bros, got affection and bird progressions. Bird direction, deeper profession. I do the risk and wearing pressure. I still deal with intentions, it's my blessings. You just found a presence in skull when cutting corners. Need a police, never solace and roll. This time is broke. Sadness cannot cuff the bankroll. The dead clouds roar and the payroll close to me. The way felt lost to me. My strengths don't enable. The chance toward a page, brought recourse to the faithful. Unable and low. I'm blamed on my cohorts and rogue. Shortly after the pro rap to the dope. Cash and growth, stature and natural road. Classy or road fashion. So passion will self-service. Now shash lucrative and finite. You cannot suppress a lie. Lucid the entire night. Stupid as inside of mind. Speaking, you get out of mind. Chilling in Hawaiian night. It's cooler than a Klondike. Stupid, you get traumatized. Brooklyn inclining. Did it since like 99. I be feeling climbing. Living on a higher earth. For me, once it's bound to happen. Risking twice in avalanches. Baby, dog, this shit is slapping. Tell me about no countermeasures. Came without a question.
Holy
but
shit.
You pass it off as it's gone. I be the height of the way like Azariah. Measure up. I learn and work on everything as it come. Rest it hum. I be the jump. Go body bump. Lolly,
Oh my.
the parting comes, we're gonna die. You're not eternal, but I alone am to decide how I will have fun. The climate comes imminent, get it down like a beverage. Lost the power of parents.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Nah, man. Nah. Holy shit. Wow. That is like an insane way to kick off the show, man. Like that is actually an insane way to kick off the show. Um what the fuck? I think the one comment here too like literally described it. I think the comment here really did. Really like the flow, man. Groovy. Yeah, the flow like it just absolutely shined here. Like not even a question shined here actually. Um wow. But I feel like the writing here definitely can't be underrated at all. We definitely can't underrate the writing, but let's talk about it. Let's break it down. You guys know the motherfucking drill. So, we're gonna talk about three things. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of this track. So, um, let's talk instrumental because I feel like this is a really great duo at this point. Like I want to say like a good 75% of the tracks that Dry My Eyes has submitted have been produced by Wonderlust. So it's one of those things as to where like you just can't you can't underrate this duo. Like you really can't. Like it's to the point where it's noticeable. You know what I mean? It's really starting to be noticeable. So I like this duo a lot, like right off rip. Especially at this point. Like I feel like this is the one song that really made their what's the word I'm looking for? Oh god, what's the word? Not mixture, their flow, their kind of connection, like it shows. Like they definitely belong working together. 100%. Like sometimes like you just meet producers like that um that just match with you, bro. That just fucking match with you. And this is that for sure. So, I like the choice off rip, definitely. But let's talk about the mix. I mean, this is an artist who always has a really consistent mix, so not really a shocker that we have a pretty crisp mix here. But for those of you that are new here, we definitely want to talk about that, right? I definitely think that's like very important to talk about. But yeah, super solid mix. Not really a shocker. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Nothing that throws this song off at all. Um, like especially with the drums that just cut through nicely and like the rises and like the drops and a lot of the small stuff really makes the mix shine here. So it's definitely on point. No gripes with the mix whatsoever. Not at all. Um Instrumental Shining Star. So you know, I like everything about the instrumental, right? The structure's great, the drums are great, the melodies are great. Like there's nothing here that really like throws anything off, right? Right. I think like even down to the sound selection, perfect. But I think structure was a big thing here. To be honest with you, I really feel like structure definitely shined without a doubt, just because it wasn't a very like erratic instrumental at all, but it had enough flavor and like um just build to the whole thing that I feel like the structure just was a crucial part of this song. So I would say drums are a close second because I feel like the drums had a really nice just rhythm and like I said the sound selection was great, but I'm definitely gonna have to go with structure just because the way it was constructed was just great. It was definitely great. So uh drums close second, but definitely structure, definitely. Okay, so instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Oof. I mean, let's start off with the mix. Very much like the instrumental. Like I said, this is an artist that has a very consistent mix. You know, this is definitely no surprise. But for those of you that are new here or any new viewers, um, very solid mix. Not a shocker at all. Very consistent. But with the vocals, it's kind of become like a really, like, you know what to expect, but it's always something different. Um, but the mix is just consistent, very consistent, and always solid, no matter what kind of instrumental it is. Like it could be a little bit of a lighter instrumental, or it could be a little bit more of like a more active kind of interesting instrumental like this one, right? So there's a couple of ways that Dry My Eyes likes to go as far as instrumentals and vocals. But I think all the vocals definitely sound really solid on pretty much everything. So again, not really a shocker, but something I always want to point out. Um, so vocal mix absolutely fantastic. Something I've always said on the show. Mm, so vocal shining star is something that I knew I was gonna have trouble with, just because the writing is fantastic. Like there's a lot of fun lyrics and punchlines, and just like it's fun but serious. Again, like this is a very common theme. And you can tell that this is an artist that really has fun when they record. They really enjoy themselves, right? Because they're not only telling a story, but they're also like dropping like several punchlines throughout the song that just like you're just like, oh shit, like, and it's like actual bars, you know. Like this is definitely just solid writing in general. To be honest with you, yeah, no, definitely, like that's exactly like my face, 100%. Definitely Pog. Just because it's always just this great mix of style, right? Again, storytelling, but also filled with bars. So it's like you kind of get the best of both worlds. But, but, like I said, I knew I was gonna have trouble with this because I really like the writing, right? But, uh, the flow and cadence and delivery might be one of the craziest that we've reacted to here on the show. Gotta be. Like it's gotta be like top five that we've reacted to here on the show. It's got to be like the flow and cadence is just fucking crazy on this song, and I feel like again it just made the lyrics kind of more prominent, right? And it gave the lyrics a little bit more spice and a little bit more like just power behind it, right? A little bit more cushion. So to me, the flow and cadence and delivery, as a listener, right? Like just taking me making music out of the equation, right? Just as a listener, strictly listener, like the flow and cadence is immediately what grabbed me a bit, and then the fact that it was always progressing with the instrumental was something that you know you just immediately notice. And you know, of course, it's all subjective, right? Because I think certain people listen to music differently. But for me, right, and me being kind of like an avid hip hop fan and things like that, I think the flow and cadence and delivery was really on par, like really on par. Like that was a flow and cadence, right? Let me put it to you this way: that was a flowing cadence where I feel like you're gonna listen to the rest of the song even if you're not feeling it. It's one of those, and you're just like, okay, like no matter what. So it's a really like capturing flow and cadence and delivery for sure. So for me, Shining Star, flow and cadence and delivery, 100%. Um, so instrumental solid, vocal solid. Let's talk theme. Oh boy, theme. These covers that Dry My Eyes comes up with are always really solid, right? They're not anything that's like you don't need to like spend fucking 3 weeks on art. I mean, yeah, sure, you can if you want to, and you know, take your time. But Dry My Eyes kind of hits that middle mark where it's so unique and solid, but it just it hits that like real underground aesthetic as to where it's sick and solid, like I said, but you know it didn't like break the bank or anything like that. Like those are the types of covers that I feel like are super unique, right? So this is one of those for me, you know, because it's usually in this like collagey kind of um type of aesthetic. And again, it's kind of like a preference thing, right? Like, I talk about the IRL pictures a lot. I talk about, we've been getting like a lot of like blank submissions lately too, and I've been trying to talk about that. And plus, it's just like what you like too. You know what I mean? I just pop the Photoshop open and roll. Yeah, exactly. Like it's really based on like what you like as just an artist. You know what I mean? Like you're just like okay, like I like it's a fine balance between preference and like what your vision is, right? I feel like it's important to just always, if you like it, that's all that fucking matters. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's your release. Um, so I feel like if you're getting that satisfaction out of it, I think it's fine. But personally, I enjoy covers like these, um, just because it adds a little flavor to the track. But it's also good for like something like a single or down that line of just like a regular kind of track. So it hits the mark for me. And again, like I said before, I've kind of always been a fan of this collagey kind of like stacked image deal. So this one definitely hits that mark as well, for sure. Um, so aesthetics on point. Let's talk overall theme. Um, you know, realistically, like I wouldn't say that there's like a theme that immediately would jump out at you, right? Like you could kind of like take certain lines in a certain way and construct your own theme out of things, right? But at the same time, if you kind of think too hard on things, it kind of takes away from like the lyrical and writing skill. So that's why if there's no like super obvious themes, I tend not to dig just because it's leaning more on the lyrical side of like writing skill and delivery and like actual vocal skill. So it's kind of more along those lines. This is one of those tracks where you got to run it back and kind of dissect word for word, bar for bar, and kind of like make all the connections. Because there's a lot of like simple go to lyrics that you're going to get off bat. And then there's a couple ones like you got to think about, like Living on a Higher Hurts. And there's just a lot of ones that like stand out to me that I was like, wow, like, okay, like it's true, well thought out writing is my point here. You know what I mean? And not all writing needs to have a story. I just think writing needs to be um what you make it essentially, right? Like if you're kind of going for a certain sound or a certain, X, Y, or Z, but also telling a story or saying how you feel at the time, like there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I think at the end of the day, if you're performing and delivering well, that's really all that matters. You know what I mean? And this is one where you got to really dive into the lyrics and just appreciate it for what it is as far as writing goes and theme 100%, because there's a lot of lines like I said that you could pick out and you could fucking dissect all day, or there's just a lot of lines that you immediately relate to as well. You know what I mean? So there's a couple back and forths here that you could really dive into. But again, I wouldn't think too hard on it, and I would just appreciate it for the bars and the writing skill and the talent 100%, without a doubt. So, with that said, a huge shout out to Dry My Eyes. Thank you so much for this submission, my friend. Much, much love. Make sure you go follow them on the cloud, man. They're 3 followers away from 80. That is a great milestone. Go show them some love. And of course, make sure you follow Dry My Eyes on Twitter. They are 10 followers away from 50. Another great milestone, baby. Let's fucking get it. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We're about 4 away. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love. And we upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all that good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some motherfucking love. And if you already have, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays, my friends. Let's fucking get it. So, that was a crazy, crazy way to start off the show. That was probably one of the hottest starts we've had in a while. If I'm being honest with you, like at least the last like couple weeks, Thank you for your review. Thank you for your submission, my friend. Let's fucking get it. Thank you so much. Of course. So, our second and last Patreon of the night, and of course, last but not least, the homie Jordan, a very, very talented vocalist and producer, has again been killing it 5 months into 2024. Stacking collabs. We're talking shows. We're talking projects. Like literally everything, man. Literally everything. But this week they submitted a track titled Rain. Born demos coming soon. Okay. Okay, wait, no, so we got a title switch. It's really hard to change. Okay, and 22 hours ago. Really hard to change, formerly known as Rain. Okay, yeah, so a little bit of a title switch. We love that. Copyrighted by Jordan. Born demos coming soon. Art by Jordan, huh? Okay. All right. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about that. All right, let's get into it. Jordan, it's really hard to change. Demo. Let's go. Let's go.
I like to feel the rain, never feels the same. Just trying to do something that I can't explain. If I never learn a thing, it all just ends the same. I should probably know by now that it's really hard to change. But there's harder things, like trying to start some things. I'm trying to start some others. It's gonna be harder things. We just started getting loose, but haven't started to peak. I think it's time we took some just to show them what they need. I'm still trying to make us sweet. I'm starting to feel differently. I'm trying to avoid that one different me, but at the same time, I am not listening. The signs I didn't see, the silence between victories. I just got one off and not knowing how to turn down a challenge. When I slip up, I find my balance. I can't help looking forward to I found it. I won't ever be satisfied, at least I doubt it. I mean, I doubt it. I like to feel the rain, it never feels the same. I'm trying to do something that I can't explain. If I never learn a thing, it all just ends the same. It all just ends the same. It all just feels the same. I like to feel the rain, it never feels the same. Still trying to do something that I can't explain. If I never learn anything, it all just ends the same. I should probably know by now that it's really hard to change. It's really hard to change.
Wow.
Whatever happens, I just hope it's known I am for real. I mean, whatever happened to the way things always used to feel. I think whatever happened to them might happen to me as well. I'm still learning magic, I just made my thoughts come real. I try to tell them, don't let it get to that point. My text say this the ankle, knee, the elbow, this the joint. Most of the time you find me right here trying to keep it going. In my head, I cannot rest until I'm finally closer. I'm underneath the underground, here I'm stomping over. I dig this stuff, I love the sound, see 'em crossing over. I'm trying to reach 'em to the ground, I'm still hit with the gophers. I'm trying to be more subtle now, need to be more sober. Before I'm jumping in a puddle, how it gets all over. A few regrets about something now, I don't need no closure. I'm just trying to keep composure, whatever I face, whatever it takes. I let off the brakes, I'm taking up space. I'm thinking it's great, like nothing's a waste. I'm dumping my face, I'm jumping for place. I'm singing for cash, I hope that it lasts. The hope comes in last. I wrote for the past, I go back too fast. I know now to ask, you know not to ask. I used to holding back, yeah, I'm still holding back. And I know it's bad. Until now it all just echoed. I had to come, that had to let go. And if I'm special, it'll never end so. I like to feel the rain, never feels the same. Just trying to do something that I can't explain. If I never learn a thing, it all just ends the same. I should probably know by now that it's really hard to change. I like to feel the rain, never feels the same. Just trying to do something that I can't explain. If I never learn a thing, it all just ends the same. I should probably know by now that it's really hard to change.
What is your purpose here?
Damn. Damn. Okay. So this kind of reminds me of like old Jordan, but almost like somewhat like refined. And when I say old Jordan, I only mean like last year or something. You know what I mean? Like not like super old Jordan. Um this one, man. this one is one of those ones that has you in like a trance, you know? Definitely has you like locked in listening for sure. But let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So, we are going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about the instrumental, we're going to talk about vocals, and we're going to talk about the overall theme of this track. So, let's talk vocals. Or no, I'm sorry, let's talk instrumental. So Prod Jordan. This is a very, very interesting track, Prod Jordan. I mean, not really. Like, Jordan's a very versatile producer, right? Like, we've seen them make everything from, like, EDM house stuff to alternative, hip hop, trap, rap. Like, they're very versatile when it comes to their production. But this one, man, is definitely rocking on, like, the alternative side. Definitely a little bit of, like, an alternative inspiration, but still very, like, mixed. You know what I mean? It's not all the way there yet. So I like the flavor of this one a lot. Um, but mix. Let's talk mix. Now, this is a very like it's not raw, but when you're dealing with these live instruments like I always talk about, sometimes they can be a bitch to mix, you know what I mean? Or otherwise sometimes they're just really fucking easy, especially when you're um adding vocals into the equation, right? So but this one for what it is, I feel like it's a really solid mix, 100%. Especially with like the live kind of style that it has. Um without a doubt. Without a doubt. So mix is solid. Uh drums are solid. Nothing really clashing to overbearing. Nothing that really like stands out to me as like off or overbearing or anything like that. Um especially like the drums themselves, like the melodies are great too, but the drums themselves are like very they stand out a lot, which is nice. Um so it makes it solid, definitely. Instrumental Shining Star. I mean, you'd be crazy if you didn't say melodies though. Like you'd be really crazy if you didn't say melodies. Not gonna lie. But structure's up there too. I feel like structure's definitely like underrated, but I like it. Yeah, no, definitely solid. Definitely. Um, I'm really leaning towards melodies, but I feel like the drums here again are something that you could like really underrate. But I'm gonna have to go with melodies just because it brings that like darker tone. You know what I mean? It really brings that darker tone to it. So definitely melodies for me. Definitely melodies, but drums are a close second. 100%. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Um vocal mix, man. Again, like I've said, Jordan is a very versatile artist, right? Not just with production, but with their vocals as well. Like they've leaned on alternative, they've leaned on cloud, esque rap, some real lo-fi kind of style. Like they've really nailed it when it comes to their vocals and like what kind of instrumentals that they're really working with, right? Like I feel like they know what they're doing when it comes to their vocals and what they want to sound like on certain tracks. And this is no different. So, again, with that said, vocal mix is fantastic. It has that grittiness to it, but it's still got enough like polish on it to clean it up and make it sound at least crisp and things like that. But it leaves enough grit in it, right? Um, so no gripes with the vocal mix at all. Nothing clashing to overbearing. I think drums cut through nicely. I think they sit nice. Nothing that really throws it off at all, to be honest with you. And again, you're kind of dealing with a more live instrument based instrumental. So again, with all things considered, solid mix, absolutely. Um, Vocal Shining Star. Now, the reason why I said this kind of reminds me of like, early Jordan, or just like previous, older tracks is because like the poetic style mixed with like a little bit like just pushing the more like hip hop kind of like rap like flows, but kind of mixing it with an alternative instrumental. So I feel like you're getting like the best of both worlds here. Um, this is kind of like a style of music that I've always been a fan of as well. Like really pushing like the hip hop esque flows with like alternative instrumentals. I think that's great. Um, but again, the writing, like I said, is kind of very poetic and it has this like storytelling element to it, but it doesn't neglect like the actual like flow and cadence and delivery factor that it brings as well. So, where does that leave me? Well, writing is definitely up there, but flow and cadence and delivery, again, it has a little bit of emphasis on the grittiness. So, you know, I'm kind of leaning towards both, but I really had to pick. I think writing is definitely something that drags you in immediately, and again makes you want to listen to the full track, just because it's not like immediate storytelling, but you could tell that Jordan has something to say. You know what I mean? With a lot of like these smaller punchlines, like at the beginning, so you're like, okay, like you kind of like pay attention, you know. So, for me, writing, but flow, cadence, and delivery, was a close second for sure. Um, so, instrumental solid, definitely the melodies. Vocal solid, definitely the writing. Let's talk theme. Theme. Aesthetics. I mean, this might be one of the coolest Jordan covers yet. The original image, I have no idea what it is. Like, it could be Jordan, it could just be fucking some, random rogue image, right? But this one, it really describes the track in such a simple way. It's definitely a very, like, nighttime, 3 a.m. esque track for sure. And again, I feel like this just reflects it. Like it's a very like accurate cover. Like this is definitely one that like I thought of, and I kind of saw immediately, and I was like, it's a pic from Jason Bourne edited a bunch. Okay, so we got the insight for Jordan here live. Let's go. We fucking love that. We love that. Um, so yeah, that makes it even cooler, right? Is just like taking like a lot of these like regular images, whether they be from movies or other art pieces, and just kind of like deep frying them, right? Or just super editing them. And this is one that I feel like just accurately describes this track in a visual way. So this is definitely one of those. This is definitely one of those. Well, what's good, Jordan? I hope you're well. Welcome on in. Happy Monday. Um, so like I said, aesthetics on point, man. I kind of knew off the bat, but you kind of really don't make that connection up until you listen to the track. Um, so usually once you listen to the track, you're like, okay, I see the cover inspo there. I see it. Um, but yeah, aesthetics on point. Overall theme. So, it's really hard to change demo, right? Formerly known as Rain. I like both titles, by the way. I don't think either one was better or worse. I feel like you could have went with either title. So let's just get that out there for sure. I like both titles. But overall theme, I mean, it's kind of a mix. It's a mixed bag. Because you have this like really poetic style from Jordan, right? That's like very storytelling and very like descriptive, right? It's very easy to imagine a lot of the things that Jordan is really writing about. But at the same time, it's mixing a lot of like deliveries and flows that are like a little bit more lean towards not like spoken word. It's very much like adding flows and adding a little bit more spice to it, right? Because a lot of the earlier Jordan was very much cloud lo-fi esque kind of hip hop, right? This is, like I said, kind of leaning on the alt rock style of instrumental, but it's also bringing a lot of those hip hop elements with it. So that's kind of why I say it's a little bit of like a maturing of Jordan. And I've said this before, right? Like you can kind of always tell when artists like level up, right? You can kind of always tell when they've been spending time in the studio or they just come up with an idea that like breaks you through a new ceiling. Like even producers go through it. You don't even need to be a vocalist to like understand what I'm talking about. But one of those things where you kind of break through and you either like have like a new flow or a new style, or you mix two things and you kind of get something like this where you can tell there's a maturing here, and I think that's great. So the overall theme is definitely like a mixed bag, right? Jordan's definitely getting a lot of feelings out and definitely um putting a lot out on Front Street, if you will, right? But also delivering it in a way where almost anybody can consume it. You know what I mean? Like that's one of those things where you don't have to be a rocket scientist to grasp this kind of track, but it's also one of those tracks that's very, I feel like emotional is a strong word, but it's a personal track, right? Because Jordan's really talking about a lot of accurate shit here. Um, you know, hard to change, also like it's this feeling of like looking back on the past and like understanding where you gotta go, and like understanding like what you gotta change, right? And you're like, okay, I fucked up here. I gotta change my attitude here. I gotta change my outlook on this. I gotta do more of this, whatever. But you're also in present day, because you could think about the shit from like 5 years ago, and it's really not relevant up until you do something about it, right? And I feel like there's a lot of like talk about how hard that actually is to change, you know? Because none of us are perfect, you know what I mean? None of us are perfect, and I think like these kind of tracks are very important. Because that's what music brings out of you, right? It's a very self-reflective kind of art. Most art really is self-reflective, but music is one of those things where um speaking things, it just kind of helps, you know? So it's one of those tracks that it will hit home for the right people, but you're gonna appreciate it regardless, you know? Definitely. Definitely. So, with that said, a huge shout out to Jordan. Thank you so much for this submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Jordan on the cloud, man. They're one follower away from 80. Go get him to 80, damn it. And of course, make sure you follow Jordan on Twitter. They're 10 followers away from 440. W milestone. Make sure you go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a lot of good jazz over there. So go show these artists and the channel some love. All right. So that was our 2 Patrons of the night. Huge shout out to Dry My Eyes and huge shout out to Jordan. And huge shout out to the rest of the Patreon crew, man. You guys are amazing. Kruker, Ryuki, Blank Thought, King Mark. You guys are awesome. But let's continue on, man. It's time for the community submissions. So we're just going to go top to bottom like usual. And we'll get started. So, first up, the homie, Sam's Raps. This was a first time submitting artist about like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And from what I remember, they had a fucking banger. So I'm definitely excited. A super talented vocalist, Sam's Raps. Submitted Good Riddance, Fraud Worldwide Beats. It looks like we have a music video here. Oh yeah, we are so down. We are so down. Alright, let's go a little 720 because we're streaming. Let's go full screen. Let's get into it. Sam's Raps, Good Riddance. Let's go.
Yo. Worldwide Beats, what up? Let me wax poetic like me.
No shot.
Stretching out the lungs in the morning, greet the sunshine. Don't ask why. Don't neglect the back and buys. I spread the lats and fly around until it's nap time. I really fly. Not very godly, but I'm baptized. Take away my sins, I'm padding more onto the stat line. Balling and I'm
okay.
the country's favorite pastime.
I see the vision.
The plate, I get my chance. There ain't no
Was that a Netflix intro?
There is a 7-inning stretch though. You know what? Fuck it, back at it.
Oh man.
Bad, exact my wrath. Get a lead and take the bag. I can't please you with the raps. You putting Prego on the map. Your tracks a half calf, laugh, gas up fast, bad like
holy shit.
We flip you like a flapjack. Enact the service for the kingpin. Showing love when I know the fucking pillow placement. Wake up early, sweep the basement, cutting up some bacon. You too brazen with the beef. I'm chopping up the steak. Tips you ain't shit. We were anxious. We don't overthink it. We just lay it down and make shit. Y'all chase the commas in hopes to bank it. I placed a period cause I just made a statement.
What the fuck? I see the vision, bro.
You know what? Let me just fuck around and spit some shit. I'm a whole snack. These bitches treat me like I'm chopped liver. They acted whack and they lost the plot like Charles Dickens. These thoughts sticking, they going local like malt liquor. I'll pop quicker, call shots from the desk like Rob Riggle. You rock with him, I'm pulling strings like guitar picking. This God rhythm, you vibing now while I solve writtens. I'll bomb cities, then kick it like the cigar skinning. The tar heavy, but keep me calm till this good riddance.
Oh my. Oh my. Let's go, man. Let's fucking go. Wow. Okay. Okay, I wasn't expecting to like this, but I fuck with it. Yeah, honestly, I knew from the beat that this was either going to be really insane or really just didn't mix well. It was really insane. It was really insane. Like it's one of those instrumentals, man, you just know right off the bat, you know? But let's break this down. Let's talk about it. So, we're going to talk about 3 things here. We're going to talk about the instrumental, we're going to talk about vocals, and we're going to talk about the music video for Good Riddance, because we definitely need to talk about that. But let's talk instrumental. I mean, this is just an instrumental that realistically, bro, right off the bat, I was just like, okay, like the 808 in specific was just like really on point, right? This is one of those like instrumentals where the 808 is just like the star of the fucking show. Um, the mix is great, nothing clashing to overbearing. The 808 bangs, drums bang, vocals sit nice, everything cuts through nicely. No gripes with this whatsoever. I think the mix is right where it needs to be. As far as the instrumental goes, no question. Um, yeah, no gripes. Thinking back on it, definitely no gripes. Even the sound selection's great, you know. So, solid, solid. Instrumental Shining Star. I mean, kind of a no brainer. Got to be the 808s. I mean, the melody's like a close second, right? The melody's definitely very memorable, but I feel like the 808 is like such a front runner for this instrumental. Absolutely. So for me, got to be the 808, no question. Or just drums in general. I mean, realistically, drums in general, but more specifically, the 808. Um, so instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix. So Sam's kind of has like a natural voice, right? So this isn't one that you really would need to do too much post processing on unless you wanted to, right? Unless you're going like for more like of an electronic pop like sound. This is one where it's polished. It's still letting their natural voice shine, but it's not trying to do too much, right? So I feel like the vocal mix again, right where it needs to be, sits nice in the instrumental, drums cut through nicely. Again, it's very like trap hip hop esque, standard track. So you don't really want to go too crazy with the vocals, but again, it really depends on the vision and the execution. But for this, the mix is great for sure. Um, hmm. Vocal Shining Star. Now, writing's up there for sure, but I kind of want to say flow and cadence. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of want to say flow and cadence, just because again, it's one of those flows that really drags you into the song, and it's one that you're like, okay, like what's this motherfucker about to spit? You know what I mean? You're like, all right, and then as the song progresses, the flow and cadence just shines. So for me, definitely flow and cadence, but the writing's a close second. Writing's definitely a close second. Um, so instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Vocal solid, definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Let's talk about the music video. So, I believe this is the first video we've seen from Sam's Raps. I don't believe we've had any other videos submitted from Sam. Because I'm pretty sure the first submission was like an audio or something. But as far as this one goes, this is this is one of those videos, man, that we were talking about like a couple weeks ago, where like you could just really DIY this if you really wanted to. Like, okay, so there is lyrics and description. Okay, so we love that. We got a little short to go with it. Okay, okay, okay. All right, so again, let's dive into the video because it's one of those things where you know it's such a great concept, right? Like you could literally film and edit this on your iPhone, no doubt. You know what I mean? And it doesn't take much. Like you need like 3 or 4 angles. You need a couple of ideas, and you need to just have fun with it. You know what I mean? And you could quite literally tell that Sam's was having fun with this. That's what I like a lot. Is like for one, totally having fun, right? But it's also creative in like small ways. Even the bacon on the table. Like a lot of the shots where the video is relevant to the lyrics is just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like this is like at least thought out somewhat, right? Like this wasn't just like, okay, I'm just gonna film a video and just do whatever. Like this is definitely at least a little bit thought out. And um one thing it does bring is again that raw, organic kind of underground feel. You know what I mean? Because he's not trying to do anything crazy. He's not trying to go be something he's not. You know what I mean? It's very much like a great supporting piece of content for this track, no doubt. So concept great, shots great, even like the slight editing great. Transitions and just like the mirrored images where there's like 3 of them at the beginning, like sitting together. Like I feel like things like that are like really fucking solid. And much like Dry My Eyes, I talked about the Netflix like intro or like some of the other transitions that we saw were just solid. So post processing is great. And then of course, the other thing that we always kind of talk about here is how you look on camera, right? Like, are you stiff? Does it look like you're not enjoying yourself? And things like that. And no, I definitely feel like Sam's was really enjoying themselves here. This is definitely an artist who is comfortable on camera doing probably anything. You know what I mean? Like probably doing anything. So one of those things where you notice right off the bat if somebody's like comfortable on camera, right? And this is definitely an artist who is absolutely comfortable on camera. Ree, what's good up, bro? Welcome on in. Happy Monday. Let's get it, baby. Yeah, so one of those things where you just notice right off the bat if they're comfortable on camera, right? Not stiff, not things like that. And Sam's definitely solid in this one, so definitely something I took note of like right off rip, no question. But yeah, to be completely honest with you, this is a really great supporting piece of content and doesn't take that much effort, right? Like a lot of people like want to have these crazy videos with like these insane budgets and things like that. But if you're at a certain level, right, and you're just trying to like find your audience and gather new supporters, you really don't need a video with a budget. You just need a video with passion that's kind of like original, right? And that's exactly what this is. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to Sam's. Make sure you go follow them on YouTube. We're gonna go drop them a sub right now on the Music Mondays channel, and you should too. They are 5 subs away from 20. And of course, make sure you follow Sam's on Twitter as well. They are 4 followers away from 780. So make sure you go show them some love on the bird at my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers, man. I think we're like 4 away. So go show these artists in the channel some love. And of course, we upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, all that good jazz over there. So go show the channel and these artists some love. Happy Monday. Let's fucking get it, Ree. Absolutely. So let's continue on. That was crazy. I like that a lot. That was one of those tracks where it just hit the mark right on like every angle. like instrumental choice, flow cadence, the video kind of all came together like really well. So let's continue on, my friends. All right, so up next we got the homie Onwuka. This has been a very, very consistent submitting artist, man. They have been killing it in 2024 and really killing it on the Music Mondays podcast, man. Like this is an all-star right here. So a very, very talented vocalist submitted Last Level with Insomniac, the producer. Another Insomniac track from the Portals EP we dropped last year, a video game based called Last Level. Okay. So, and we have a little bit of a collab production on here too as well. So, all right. So we got another lyric video. We definitely got to get into this because we already know these go crazy from this duo right here. So we definitely got to dive in. All right, let's get into it. Onwuka, Last Level, lyric video. Let's go.
Bitsaloni, Insomniac. This portal takes us to the edge of time.
Oh,
and
shit.
We're nearing the end of our journey. So it looks like last level, can't go back. There is no save point. Want to play a slave this joint, been hoarding items, saving coins. Speed run when you see me come.
Oh, no
Listen,
way.
straight up, boys.
No way.
Last level, you can't make it, boy. Last level, can't go back. There is no save point. Watch a play a slave this joint, been hoarding items, saving coins. Speed run when you see me come.
The speedrun bar, bro.
To the end, last level, you can't make it, boy. So you hear that beat coming down like it is rainy weather, trying to go pure black like the stats in Bayonetta. Proud of black like a dominatrix encased in a latex leather. Black as a god gets smoking 6 where cosplay matrix where it goes running up and gives sounding like a politic and statement letter.
Onwuka's silly, bro. Oh, God.
Is a basement dweller, so weak they need to cheat, fraudulent, but the game I tell you, I spin fire like poi boy. They shrimp like a poi boy. They could never last level, can't go back.
Wow.
There was no save point. Want to play a slave this joint, but hoarding items, saving coins. Speed run when you see me come. Listen, game is straight up, boy. To the end, last level, you
The flow.
Play your slate this joint, been hoarding items, saving coins.
Uh.
When you see me come, place a game is straight aboard to the end. Last level, you can't make it, boy. Get lost in the bacon, boy. The last level too hot for you. Get a strain in your voice. Slicing bars are like I spot with Moth and I dream with Roy. Hit you from a far direct shot like my name was a lot. I take charge like a basketball play that's lame and a noise. Break the odds, you're repping card. Cliche saying it's your favorite choice. Can't hang with the dogs on this level trying to ban the stage, but boy, bits it insomnia woo, just up your game with boy. Last level,
Holy shit. Sample is fire, I agree.
Till you hear that beat coming down like it is raining weather, trying to go pure black like this dancing baby.
Wow. Wow. The edit is really crazy. The edit is really, really crazy. But I agree with Drama Eyes in chat, man. The sample is definitely crazy. This is another great duo here that we gotta talk about. Again, just some real peanut butter and jelly shit, you know? Like, sometimes, you know, artists find these producers, much like we were talking about early in the show, that really just fucking... They just go together so well, man. Just effortlessly, right? Their flow and their connection is just so obvious, right? But let's talk about it, man. Let's get into it. So we're gonna talk about three things here. We're talking about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're talking about the lyric video. Of course, we're gonna talk about the lyric video. We'll talk a little bit about the theme too, but the lyric video is just another one that's on another level. But let's talk instrumental. So again, Insomniac is another producer that just goes really well with a lot of artists, but Onwuka is definitely one of them that's up there. Again, just effortless connection, just the chemistry is really the word I'm looking for. Is the chemistry of these two is so obvious, man. So again, kind of a really solid duo. So you can always expect something really, really solid. And just overall, like, unique, you know, really, really unique. That's the other part of it is like, you can just expect that without a doubt. So instrumental mix, again, fantastic. This is a producer and an artist that we've heard enough of as to where you can kind of expect a really solid mix from a lot of their tracks. But for anybody that's new here, that's something you always want to point out. Not really a shocker though. And again, nothing clashing too overbearing. Vocals sit real nice. Drums cut through nicely. Samples great. Everything's super solid mix wise. So definitely no gripes there at all. So instrumental mix solid. Instrumental shining star. I mean, the sample's definitely up there. Because Insomniac's such a talented producer with samples that, you know, the way that they chop and the way that they utilize samples is always super solid. But I don't know, drums are kind of up there. But I do want to say the sample. Drums are definitely up there though. Yeah, let's go with the sample, man. Let's go with the sample, just because it's super memorable and it has the, like, somewhat of like a video game space-esque kind of flavor to it. So, definitely the melodies and sample for sure. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal shining star. Again, this is an artist who, you know, we've heard enough of their vocals as to where it's not really a shocker that they have a really solid mix, right? But for those of you that are new here, not really something that caught me off guard. I was kind of expecting like a really solid mix, just because, again, like I said, this is an artist who has a really solid natural voice, especially when it comes to like super like hip hop, like regular like organic hip hop centered tracks. You want their natural voice to kind of shine, but also you just kind of want to polish it up a little bit and give it a little bit of elbow grease to make sure that everything is kind of nice and level and super crisp, right? And that's definitely hitting the mark here when it comes to these vocals. So vocal mix absolutely on point. Not a shocker, but something I always want to point out for anybody new. Vocal shining star. Um, you know, flow and cadence is up there for me, but I feel like the writing really shined on this one. Lots of fun bars, lots of like easy to understand bars as well. Like you don't need to be like a super pop culture kind of person to like understand some of this. Like the speedrun bar, for example. Like you don't need to be a speedrunner to like understand that. You're gonna make the connection. So it's small bars like that that really came in, and I was like, okay, like this is like again really well thought out. Especially for its theme, right? Just like super well thought out. So for me, definitely the writing, but flow and cadence and delivery definitely close second, no doubt. Um, so instrumental solid, definitely the sample and the melodies. Vocal solid, definitely the writing. Let's talk about the lyric video. So this is like the third or fourth lyric video that we've reacted to from Onwuka, and they've all been so unique and so fun to watch. Not many people make lyric videos like this, as to where like your eyes are like actively like following the lyrics, because I think lyric videos are great no matter what, even if they are super simple or anything like that. I think supporting content for any type of track is just fantastic. So I just want to preface this by saying that. But these lyric videos are really like there's a lot of effort behind them. You know what I mean? Like some of these edits are not easy to do, and like the choice of footage is always like super consistent. And this is one of those ones where I feel like that does shine. Like it's very fucking consistent. Space like, video game like, final level like, it brings all those elements to it. So I mean, let's be honest, the lyric video is just like it's the cherry on top to a track. Pretty much any type of listener, right? Any type of listener. The fun song is really what it is. I mean, and the theme is super on point, right? Because like Onwuka has this special talent with their writing as to where they can take a theme and make like bars and punchlines almost like effortlessly, but also still staying on subject, which is like it's not an easy skill. Or some people are just super talented, right? It's just definitely not something you develop overnight, or you're just effortless at it. But regardless, theme's definitely on point, lyric video is definitely on point. And well done, well done. This was okay. This was definitely crazy. So with that said, huge shout out to Onwuka. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. They're 10 subs away from 60 on YouTube, so make sure you go show their channel some love. Lots of good jazz on there for sure. And of course, make sure you go follow them on Twitter. They are 8 followers away from 740, so make sure you go show them some love on the bird. Let's get it, baby. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We're about 4 away, man. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love. And of course, we upload 2 times a week. Every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, underground tips and tricks, whole lot of good jazz over there. So go show the channel these artists some love. And if you already have, thank you. We see you dropping likes, dropping comments. Even if you're just viewing the videos, we appreciate you. Thank you. So, all right. We left off with the homie Onwuka. Crazy ass submission. But up next, we have Survival and Negativity, aka Sin, a insane vocalist. Again, has just been throwing a lot of like throwbacks and recent tracks and really just like everywhere. Like some of their collabs are crazy. Like we've seen them in the Omniac. Like this is definitely an artist that I've enjoyed reacting to here on the show for sure. But they submitted Digital Haze. Here's a throwback by my duo Rally for Reality from our compilation The Vault Mixtape Part 2, a collection of old Lucy's over industry beats recorded between 06 and 2012. This one is called Digital Days over by Radio Days by The Roots. Wow. Wow. All right, let's pop it open a new tab and let's see what we got, because that is fucking crazy. Okay, so we're looking at March 1st, 2024, but some of these tracks are old. So let's see what we got here, man. I'm definitely down. Survival and Negativity, Digital Days by Rally for Reality. Let's go. No, yeah, like it totally is like super inspiring to hear shit like this. Rally for Reality and more specifically Sin has really developed their skill over time, right? So let's go back to the caption here. So here's a throwback by my duo Rally for Reality from our compilation, The Vault Mixtape 2, a collection of old Lucy's over industry beats recorded between '06 and 2012. '06 and 2012 is fucking crazy. Like, can we just talk about that for a second? Like, '06 and 2012, this is an artist who's been in the game for quite some time, and you can tell that their skill has just been developing slowly over the course of the last few years, right? Like, shit, even the last decade. So, um, like it, especially what the fuck, especially if you've heard of more recent tracks from Sin, like you can see like the clear progression, right? So this is definitely old, but it's got so much like history to it that I think it, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. So we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of this track. So um let's talk instrumental. I mean, super sample heavy, right? You know, record over industry beats, kind of like a, you know, rip it YouTube MP3, you know, add whatever you want to it, kind of deal. But with that said, the mix on it is great. Because again, it doesn't really matter if you're using like type beats or just any type of beat. The mix still has to be good, right? And this is definitely one of those for sure. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Sample works great. Vocals sit nice, especially for its time, right? Like regardless if it's '06 or 2012, you're still talking over a fucking decade ago. You know what I mean? It sounds really great for its time. Like it doesn't sound insane, right? Like think about 2006. Like FL was like around for sure, but like DAWs and like recording wasn't as easy as it is now. So to kind of get this type of quality and type of like sound for that time is really sick. Really, really sick. I mean, not that it was like fucking impossible, right? It was just harder for independent up and coming artists, right? Like not everybody had access to studio time. Not everybody had the funds for studio time, right? So um hearing shit like this is like always cool to me. But with that said, the instrumental makes solid. Again, nothing clashing, too overbearing, nothing that really like throws me off or anything like that. Solid for what it is, especially with it being somewhat of like a remix. Um, Instrumental Shining Star. I mean, for being honest, I like the sample a lot, but the drums, man, the drums bring this rhythm and inspire the flow and cadence so well that I feel like it's hard to not say drums. I mean, the melodies are great, but the drums are definitely up there for me, for sure. Just because it just inspires this interesting flow and it's just got a good rhythm to it, for sure. Um, so instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Let's talk vocals. Um, you know, again, I want to stress if we're talking about the time period of 2006 and 2012, this is probably one of the crazier vocal mixes you're gonna get from an independent artist, right? Um, just because, like I just explained, like it just wasn't easy to access a studio like that. It just really wasn't. You know, it was just not as prominent as it is now. Like you can't just go like uh download the FL Studio demo. You know what I mean? Like that probably wasn't even a thing back then. I mean, I know for a fact you could buy FL, right? But who knows if demos were even out yet or anything like that, right? So I think in 2006, analog, bro. Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. 2006, I was about 10 years old. I think I was about 10 years old. I was turning 10 in 2006. So, um, really, really crazy to think about. Really, really cool. But yeah, so anyways, back to the point. With that said, the mix is great for its time. You know what I mean? Like nothing, it's not too low. The audio quality isn't like noticeably off or aged, right? Like you'd think, oh, like 2006, if you're not recording in like somewhat of a decent studio, songs can be like kind of hard, right? Well, definitely not. Definitely not. And much like Dry My Eyes said, analog, right? Like you have analog shit, you have like it was just different back then. It was just so different. Um, so again, really cool to like actually get a chance to break something like this down that's not mainstream. Um, so like I said, vocal mix again for its time, fantastic, fantastic. Letting the like natural voice shine, but you can also tell like Survival was still kind of like developing their sound and developing their just craft in general, right? Just really developing themselves. So I think it's fantastic for its time. Absolutely. Um Vocal shining star. I mean, the hook is up there. The writing is definitely up there. But if I'm being really, really honest, the energy, yes, the energy for sure. If I'm being honest, it's definitely got to be the flow and cadence and delivery. It just felt like old school hip hop, but again, it felt modern and fresh. Like it didn't have like the weird like corny like old school bars or just like because like I mean they're not corny, right? Like they were bars for their time, but it doesn't sound aged at all. Like this could drop today and you'd be like, okay, like this is fire. You know what I mean? Like you would have never known it dropped in '06 or 2012 or 2008 or whatever, you know? So that's what's really cool about this. And for me, it's definitely got to be the flow and cadence and delivery. No doubt. No doubt. So, um, instrumental solid. Definitely the drums. Vocal solid. Um, Definitely the flow, cadence, and delivery. Writing's a close second, though. Let's talk theme. So this actually did drop in March. Um, and this is a crazy cover art. A crazy cover art. So for something called the Vault, especially for like a part two, I think this is great. Especially with like the track list up front, and it feels very like very like independent, but very like solid still. You know what I mean? It's just one of those underground covers that you just love to see. For me anyway, definitely for me. But yeah, the track list is not something that you see up front a lot, and then of course we have the title up top, a collection of Lucy's, 2006 to 2012, and then at the bottom, production from The Roots, Organized Noise, Ant of Atmosphere, a whole MF Doom. Yeah, a whole lot of notable names, man. So this is definitely a project if you're interested in remixes that you definitely gotta go check. Sure. But aesthetics absolutely on point, especially for a fucking project, man. Like, especially for a project. For sure. I mean, it would have banged as a single, right? But I feel like for a project, like that is like really, really up there. Um, so definitely nailed it in my book. Um, so aesthetics on point. Overall theme, obviously it's a remix, so I wouldn't say that they went in with like an overall theme. It was just more so, can we write to this and can we make it work? You know what I mean? Like, can we actually, sound decent on this? This is like what this is sounding to me, and they nailed it for sure. Writing's definitely something to pay attention to, right? Because the hook, the punchlines, there's a lot of like small little tidbits and sections and lyrics for you to like pick up on, but for the most part this is definitely like something that you should appreciate the lyrical skill for, and the fact that they wanted to take on these remixes, right? Because a lot of these artists are known for their versatility and known for a lot of their like um versatile instrumentals, and they're just very different, right? So going in and doing a whole project of remixes like this is just like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Come on. So the fact that you could even make it like a true remix and actually like spit your own shit on it is fantastic. And these projects are always cool for anybody's library. So if you're an artist out there and you want to go remix something and go drop it on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, YouTube, fantastic. I think that's great, and everybody should do that at least once if you're interested. I think that's always a great idea. So with that said, well done, my friends. That was fantastic. Make sure you go follow Rally for Reality on Bandcamp. And of course, make sure you go follow Survival on Twitter. They are 6 followers away from 370. Of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. I think we're about 4 away, so make sure you go show the channel and these artists some love. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all that good jazz. You guys know the drill, man. And if you already have, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Let's get it, baby. So, we're about halfway through the show. You guys know the drill. We're going to take a quick commercial break. So, I'm going to need all you guys to get out, go get a snack, go stretch your legs, go walk the dog, go do whatever you need to do. And when we return, we're going to hop right back into our community submissions and see what else we got hidden for us, man. So, don't go anywhere. And let's fucking get it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live with the Music Mondays podcast, episode 174. I'm your host, Sam Slays. Hope you had a good break. We're back. We're chilling. Here live. All right. So, back into some community submission. We go. We left off with the homie Survival and Negativity, aka Sin. And up next is Gross, or Gross. Not Gross Hip Hop. So I believe this is a first time submission. For sure it is, actually. Rapper producer pre-save the newest song. Okay, Gross. Okay. Draw my eyes. Let's get it, baby. Shit, you weren't even following? Or no, it must have been some accidental shit. But let's get it. Thank you for following the stream family. But they submitted a brand new project. And it is titled Chronicles of a Lost Soul, Volume 1. I never do. No, yeah, no worries, my friend. No worries at all. But yeah, first time submitting artist. We're gonna go in blind. We have no idea what this is gonna sound like. We dropped an album. Any track would help. Okay, say less. So let's see what we got here. We're gonna play the first track of this project. It is a 12 track project. Couple features, interlude. Okay. All right, so first track has been blessed. Let's get into it. I'm down. First time submitting artist. Let's go.
Between this place and nowhere, on the path to go there, proceeding our coasters, and I told you not to go there. If looks can kill, I hate to say it, guess you motherfucking JFK. Brains blown, day to day. You ain't bring my bra, I got triple D titties that flopping in the breeze. Helicopter flying and I drop 'em in the sea. Heavy copper armor and I'm killing my disease. Like, ain't this what you came to see? This shit is so confusing. The winner's steady winning and the loser's always losing. We stuck in this illusion of drunkenness confusion. Really hope we reach it to the end of the conclusion. Yeah. And they ain't even listen to the pain inside my vocal range. Shit always happened, but nothing ever changed. Lucky when I slit my wrist, I missed most of veins. Clinically insane, well my dignity deranged, but it's simply the same. Yeah, simply the same. Simply the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Bitch, why you steady cap when it's actually facts? Go ahead, attack my functionality intact. Everybody falling, guess the gravity is back while they stab me in the back. Do it again, I'll stab you back. Drugs, liquor, guns, motherfucker, where you value at? Pussy tight like a motherfucker vacuum packed. Fuck 'em all right, like back to back. And once the night done, I'ma fucking pass 'em back. I open up my phone for distractions, but all I see is sadness. So I sit back, get high, and I pass it. Why the fuck you mad at my reaction? You ain't even listening, I think you need some captions. Bitch, you went from basic to thoughtful, from heinous to awful. But fuck it, I'm drinking the bottle with short sleeves and cold night. Horse fiend, but I hold tight. Oh, please, you ghost right, but dope needs to blow right. I was happy as a youngster, now I'm holding all my words and my motherfucking tongue hurts. She really did me wrong, and I don't know if I can trust her. Everything good, fuck it, guess it must turn. Fuck it, guess it must turn. But I'm that killer from the Midwest. Better keep your head up in your chin check. Couldn't give a fuck, cause all of them have been spent. Everybody been angels like fuck. You ain't sin, yeah, saw death and I killed him. Guess I've been blessed.
Holy shit.
Guess I've been blessed.
Okay.
Death and I killed him. Guess I've been blessed. Guess I've been blessed. All this being numb makes me ask if I can love again. Shit makes me sick. I can't even stomach it. Would you reach down, pull me back if I had plummeted? But I'm cutting off the strings like fuck. Ain't no puppet shit. Happy I can't find it. Where did you discover it? Did you put it in your pants? Did you fucking smuggle it? You take out your depression or did you fucking smother it? Cause I'm always suffering, pain hurts and I ain't recovering.
Wow. Okay. I see the vision. I definitely see the vision. All right. That was like it was interesting because like I didn't know what to expect, right? Of course, first time submitting artists, you never know what to expect. But at first I wasn't fully invested. I was like, I didn't really know what direction this was about to go. You know what I mean? It's one of those that if you give it the chance, you're gonna warm up to it. You're definitely gonna warm up to it, and it's definitely one of those, 100%. Um, okay, let's break this down. Let's talk about it. And we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of "Been Blessed." So, um, let's talk instrumental. I love this choice a lot. This instrumental choice is actually really fucking crazy. It has this like cipher esque style, but it still has like a lot of hard hitting drum. Um, so it's definitely versatile, but I just like the choice in general, to be honest. But the mix is solid. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Melodies are great. Sound selection's great. Nothing that like ultimately threw me off with the instrumental itself. Again, vocals sat nice. Drums cut through nicely. Nothing too crazy, right? Um, hmm. Yeah, no. Thinking back on it, instrumental mix definitely solid, without a doubt. Um, hmm. Instrumental Shining Star. I mean, the melody's really memorable here. Really memorable. It's just got that like it's got that tone to it that's like it's dark but has somewhat of like a classic esque hip hop feel. Definitely dark, but brings a lot of energy for sure. Um, the drums, man. The melody's memorable, but the drums really hit. Um, this one I'm gonna have to go with the melody though, just because you can like hear the melody in your head, and you're like, okay, like the second this song comes on, you're definitely gonna be like, all right, like it's one you're gonna know right off bat. Um, so yeah, definitely melody, but drums are a close second. Um, so instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix. So it definitely threw me off at first. I like at first it felt like they were a bit raw, right? Like it felt very raw, like just like minimal reverb, like kind of no layers or everybody mixes differently. But after a good like 30 seconds, you kind of like get used to it, and like I said, you kind of warm up to it, and you know it's not raw in a bad way. It's just very like in your face, right? And that's something I noticed like right off rip. So again, this is one of those that like you gotta warm up to it, right? Like you gotta give it a chance. Like even just 30 seconds, like I feel like that made like the world's a difference, and I was like, okay, you know what I mean? Like you kind of see the vision for sure, and you're like, all right. So for me, despite it being like somewhat raw, I still like it for what it is, right? A lot of the smaller effects are cool. A lot of the little things done throughout the song to the mix is like really sick, just because it adds a little bit of flavor, right? But I do feel like the rawness of the vocals kind of added a little bit of like a cipher freestyle s kind of vibe, right? So with that said, the mix is definitely right where it needs to be, especially for this like style of track, right? Um, super level, clean, nothing really to like harp over or gripe about, So vocal mix solid right where it is. Um, vocal shining star. Flow and cadence is up there for sure. But for me, it's got to be writing, just because you know, first time submitting artist, but at the same time, one of those tracks again that you're interested in. You're right. You're kind of interested, like, can they write? What are the bars like? What are the punchlines like? What are the connections that you can make? There's a couple of things there on the first listen that you're going to be intrigued in. So for me, it's got to be writing. That was just something that I personally paid attention to. But flow and cadence and delivery, a good close second. So instrumental solid, definitely the melodies. Vocal solid, definitely the writing for sure. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics. Chronicles of a Lost Soul Volume 1. So this is a full project. I like this a lot. Because you guys know how I feel about the IRL covers, right? You take like a really solid IRL picture and you kind of do some like minimal edits to it, and you do what you can, and really trying to like create your vision with it, because I think going this direction is always like a good idea. no matter what the vision is, realistically. But this one in particular, I like a lot, especially for the parental advisory. It's not just the regular one, and the font up top, and then just the IRL backdrop is always solid. Like to me, at least. You know what I mean? So it's definitely one of those that um, I might have some bias with, but I always think it like really hits for sure. So cover solid, especially for a project. Overall theme. So this is definitely a mix of like lyrical talent, but also there's definitely like a lot of connections you could make to the title, right? Like Ben Bless, like I feel like they talk a lot about their personal struggles and like how they've not only been through certain things but also like came out of the other side of certain things, right? I feel like that's a very like underrated thing. I feel like people don't talk about how blessed they really are, whether it is in like a sarcastic way or it is like a just like an interesting way. I think looking back on certain things in life and being like, wow, I am pretty blessed for certain aspects is always a good thing, right? Even if it means remembering like shitty things, it's like you can look back on it and be like, well, at least I'm not there anymore. Because if you're having a bad day, I feel like being grateful for certain shit is always like a W, even if it's kind of shitty. You know what I mean? Because you're kind of at least finding like somewhat of the solace in like a bad situation, right? So there's a lot of that in here, but it's also mixed with a lot of lyrical talent, right? A lot of good punchlines, a lot of good bars, a lot of fun stuff, but it's also a very serious song. You know what I mean? So there's something in here for everybody, 100%. Good message. Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. I think so too. I think so too. Because that was one of the things that helped me. You know what I mean? Like whenever I went through a dark time, I really just used to look at shit and just be kind of grateful for like whatever it was, even if it was something like dumb and small. You know what I mean? Like having like hot water or having like clothes or just like dumb shit or like having food or money or just like looking at like your small wins in life and being like you're doing better than you were kind of thing. You know? You got to be like that kind of like glass half full kind of person as opposed to glass half empty. You know what I mean? Like it helps a lot through life. Cuz like look, like you're like we're all guaranteed bad days, right? Like there's going to be another bad day for all of us. But there's also going to be like a lot of good days. Like as many bad days as there's as there's guaranteed, there's also a lot of good days guaranteed, right? So if you prepare yourself, you're less let down when the bad times come. You know what I mean? Because you immediately go to be like, okay, like well, at least I got this. You know what I mean? Or at least I got that. You know, like there's so many aspects like that that are just super important. I was on the streets for a long time, so I relate. Yeah, like dark times like that, man, it'll change the motherfucker, bro. Like it'll really change the motherfucker. Like um, everybody reacts to shit differently, and some people take hard times way harder than others, and some people can pull themselves out and are just strong, and then some people are just like they struggle more. You know what I mean? So everybody's different, but that's one thing that like I know for a fact helped me. So that's why I try to talk about it, right? Because I don't like talking about shit that I don't really know about. You know what I mean? I don't like you won't catch me talking about shit that I've never personally been through or I don't personally know about. And that's definitely one of them where just being grateful or even just like in a sarcastic way. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even have to be like all sappy and fucking horny. You could just look at how grateful you are to not be on the streets or not be addicted to drugs or not be going through a toxic relationship. Like even if you're sarcastic about it and look back on it with like a little bit of bitterness, you can always turn that card around and be like, well, at least I'm not there anymore type shit. Even though that was bullshit, at least I'm not there, you know? So at least that's the way I try to look at it for most things, right? It helps. But kind of a tangent there, but again, um this song is definitely filled with a lot of that. You know what I mean? So, well done. Huge shout out to Gross or Gross. My bad on the pronunciation. Could be either. But with that said, make sure you go follow them on Spotify, and of course, make sure you go follow them on Twitter. They are 5 followers away from 420. Some love there on the bird at my friends, and of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. I upload 2 times a week. You guys know the drill. Go show these artists on the channel some love. And if you already have, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't lie. When you said hot water, I literally still be in the shower sometimes. And I'm like, life crazy good right now. Yeah, no, it really is like losing power or not having the bills paid or just going through any of those kind of like shit times, right? Um, like even Texas right now, like huge shout out to all my Texas homies that are going through it. Like I know some people out there right now that haven't had power for like 3 days, you know, and they're in like 97-degree heat and shit. Like a lot of that shit you'd be grateful for when like it gets taken away, you know. Like I remember the most recent time I really didn't have power because I live on the East Coast of Massachusetts. Um, fucking we got slammed with like a blizzard or something, and we lost power for like a good 3 days. And I remember the first time I hopped in the shower, I was damn near in tears. I was definitely in tears. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those things where you're like, holy shit, like I needed this, you know? So it's like a little different perspective on life to be like a little grateful, you know? Yeah, exactly. Like all that small stuff, bro. All that small stuff is so important, you know? Like as much as I'm like a hustle culture kind of person, right? And like put in 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, blah 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 blah. I try to like stop and smell the roses and kind of like ground myself a lot, you know? It's not good to get mixed up in that shit, but it's also good to like push yourself a lot too, so try to balance it out, you know? But yeah, that was a great track. Well done. That was fantastic. That was a great tangent there. I like that a lot. But up next we got the homie Offspring Mysterious, a wonderfully talented producer, editor, filmer, engineer, graphic designer, writer, a artist of all trades, if you will. But they submitted a YouTube video titled "Last Day of No Nut November." That is a fucking insane title. That is actually an insane title. And the caption is, "Look, I can explain." We still vibe on the grind, though. Exactly. Yes, yes. You get it. You get it. Exactly. Still grind. Exactly. Um, but yeah, this title's insane. Let's see what Offspring fucking has for us this week, my friends. Let's see what we got here. So, they submitted a YouTube upload titled "Last Day of No Nut November," and it was uploaded 5 months ago with 57K views. Holy shit! What the fuck, you idiots, participate in something this dumb? Bro, you gotta do the. Oh god. In my honest opinion, this should get 1 million views. Congrats on 13K. Holy shit, 7K views, 3 comments. I was getting too few comments. Why TV on your head? Translate to English. Please calm down. That is comedy. Holy shit. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here, man. Offspring Mysterious. Let's go.
Need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it.
Holy shit.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it.
No shot.
I need it!
No way. Stop. Stop. Shit. The music keeps playing? No way. He's like, yeah, fuck it, bro. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. See, this is interesting because there's a reason why this got picked up on the algorithm. I mean, random videos can get picked up on the algorithm, right? But this is one where people were interested, right? Like I bet you the video retention here was probably insane. Like the amount of people that watched the whole thing was probably a good like 60-50%, which is pretty just crazy for YouTube. So to hit the algorithm like this is really sick, to be honest with you. And then like have your music featured in it in like a skit like this. Creative, man. Very creative. And this is the type of shit that I always talk about with Offspring, that I always wanted them to do, and like really push them to kind of like go not really like this, but like the comedy route. I mean, the comedy route's great too, right? But just like skits in general. with their whole Walking Onslaught's kind of brand and lore. I think that's a really good way to go while releasing music on the side, or I guess as the main kind of content piece, right? But if you do skits like this to kind of like supplement your content, if you're like into this kind of thing, I think it works out well, you know. So this is one of those really fun examples that I talk with my artists about all the time because, um, look, nobody wants to do short form content, right? Like I don't like short form content more than anybody else, right? You know, you want to talk about TikTok brain and this, that, and the third. I'm not big on it uh, either, right? But there is a way to like do short form content that you enjoy. Like, not everything needs to be like some fake ass promo, go play my song kind of video. You know what I mean? If you want to do that and you're comfortable with it, it comes out better. But you don't have to. You know, you can do something like this where this is a full on skit, completely original content with Offspring Mysterious the character, right? So one of those things where if you're like gonna do it anyway, or you think it's fun, or you just have no problem with it, this is the type of short form shit that I think you should be on, you know, because you can't look at it as like, oh, I have to create TikToks now, like everything's through TikTok, blah 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 blah. Like, no, just do shit that you'd find fun anyway and turn it into short form content. You know what I mean? Like people look at it kind of backwards, and I think this is a really great area to kind of start in because it's got a lot of like really solid editing, but it's still only a minute, right? So you don't need to go like super crazy with it. So just something to consider. But I feel like this is a good example of a really good way to kind of a promote your music more, but also b you're kind of supplementing your releases, right? You're kind of giving it a little bit more cushion. So that's what's always solid. But overall, I would say the shining star, the edit is really the concept. I think the concept was what attracted people, and I think it was a good way to hook people in an honest way. I don't think this was like clickbaity or anything like that. I mean, look, yeah, sure, you could like call it clickbaity, but I don't think it was like dishonest clickbait. Because there's like clickbait shit that's actually accurate, or it's like clickbait and it's like totally not what the thumbnail is or the title. But this one is exactly what the title is. But people are curious, as you could tell, right? And the algorithm just picked it up and started showing it to more people. So it's quite literally possible to do this with almost anything. You know, you just got to know how to work your magic when it comes to your content. And Offspring is slowly kind of curating that and learning that and kind of maintaining their integrity as well. You know, so that's really something to take away from this. But Shining Star is definitely a concept, without a doubt. With that said, make sure you go subscribe to Offspring Series on YouTube. They are 3 subscribers away from 220. And of course, make sure you follow them on Twitter as well. They're literally 6 followers away from 890, or 16 away from 900. That's a W milestone. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, all that good jazz is over there, man. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some motherfucking love, baby. Let's get it. And of course, if you already have, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays, my friends. So, I always like side content pieces like that. You know, I'm a big fan of those. You know, so those are cool. Those are cool. But up next, we got the homie Industrial One. It's been a while since they've submitted. They've actually submitted quite a few repeat tracks, but this is one we actually haven't reacted to here on the show. A very very talented ambient-esque kind of producer submitted a track titled Luck. Let's see what we got here. Of course I'm down. Oh, it almost said couldn't find that song. You see that? Look at that. It almost tried to finesse us. But we would have found it either way. But all right, let's get into it. Industrial One, Luck. Mix is crazy on this. Oh shit. Counter melody is crazy. Lots of variety here. Interesting. Very interesting. This is quite the ballad, if I do say so myself. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So, we're gonna talk about two things here, because obviously no vocals. So we're gonna talk about the instrumental, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Luck. So, well, let's talk instrumental. I mean, the mix is fantastic for what it is, right? It's a very like, I wouldn't say like simple, but it's somewhat like a very like straightforward kind of instrumental, right? Couple melodies, couple structure changes. It really gets the job done in that aspect. But when you consider the mix, it's great. Um, Minimal kind of like processing on the melodies. I would say there's more like a human element to this, which I think is always great, especially when you're dealing with like just melodies, right? Like melody only instrumentals. I feel like the human element of a lot of things like this, like whether it's guitar, piano, could be anything, is always really solid. So you can notice the human element of this right off rip. So that's how you can tell the mix is solid. Just because it doesn't sound automated, it doesn't sound very like um, what's the word? It's just very natural essentially. Um, so instrumental mix, definitely solid, right where it needs to be. Um, hmm. Instrumental Shining Star, man, it really might be the melodies. I feel like structure's up there too, especially for like a longer track, right? I mean, we're pushing like 5 minutes here with this, but I do feel like the melodies were great. Like there was enough variety in here to be able to like fully see the vision of the song, right? So, for me, definitely the melodies, sure. But again, structure is a close second just because of the length. Um, so instrumental solid, definitely the melodies. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics. Aesthetics are very interesting. So this is a cover that we've seen Industrial use quite a few times, but there's just been a couple different variants, which I like. If you're gonna repeat using the same cover, you gotta switch it up. You gotta switch up the color palette. You gotta switch up the, yada yada yada. Especially for instrumentals, you can kind of go with like a theme or anything like that. But at the end of the day, a little bit of variety is always gonna be good, and that's what you're getting here for sure. So cover is definitely on point, especially when you compare it to others. A little bit of variety, like I said. Overall theme, luck. So realistically, titles like this and themes like this are really insider themes with producers and artists and things like that, right? This is definitely just how they're feeling at the time, or kind of like what this song really means to them. Especially in production, right? Because you're not using your voice, so it's one of those things as to where all you have is your instrumentals, you have your titles, you have your covers, right? So that tells your story. This is one of those ones where it's either A, just kind of like a quick title, or B, it's really something that they felt in the moment, kind of thing. So, kind of a personal one there. I like that. With that said, huge shout out to Industrial One. Make sure you go follow them on Spotify, and of course, make sure you go follow them on Twitter. They're approaching 11.2K on the Bird app. That's crazy. Make sure you go show them some love there on Twitter, and of course, every hour is featured in today's episode, and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Minded YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We're about 4 away. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a whole lot of good jazz over there, man. So make sure you go show these artists in the channel some love. Let's get it. And of course, make sure you go do that, man. Go show these guys some motherfucking love. Got to bounce out, brother, but we have a great evening, and thank you for all the work you do. Of course, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your submissions. Let's fucking get it, baby. Be safe and enjoy your night. Let's fucking go. Love that from you. Okay, so up next would be Dry My Eyes as they make their exit, but we've already reacted to them because they are Music Monday's Patreon. So if you'd like to be reacted first here on the show, make sure you go check out the Patreon and all the other goodies we have over there. And huge shout out to Dry My Eyes. If you'd like to see us react to this track, make sure you go watch the beginning of the show. Let's get it. So up next is the homie Braden. Now it's been a couple weeks. No, it's been like a week, 2 weeks maybe. Since we've heard from Braden. Not that long, but a super talented vocalist submitted "Be Quiet," first single off the album. So we have another project from the homie Braden, and this is their first single. I am down, my friends. I am absolutely down. So, all right. Let's get into it. Braden Baton, Be Quiet. So let's get loaded here. All right. Pop it open a new tab. Let's see what we got. 3 days ago. So still pretty new. Actually, very fucking new. Lots of love in the comments. Love that shit. Lots of love in the comments. Okay. Great. Love that. All right, let's get into it. Braden Baton, Be Quiet. Let's go. Oh shit.
I can't record the fucking song. Bro, just record the fucking song. It's not that difficult. Fucking whatever, bro. Holy shit. Shawty talk too much, be quiet. Give no fucks, I'm just trying to get high. Me and Shawty, we gon' fuck all night. I'm only going for the bread, strict diet. Got a 10 in the DMs, tryna fuck with me. She know if she gets to fuck, it's a luxury. Bitch, you just gotta fuck me back and you just fumbled. Bro, just took one hit of the cart, now we stumbled.
Oh shit.
Fuck or a damn by the bitch. I'll do what I please, put that on my future kids. Put that iron on me like a fucking blacksmith. Make so much money, do the fucking math, bitch. Walk up in the bank, they can't fucking add it up. Yeah, count that fucking shit. Yeah, fucking bag it up. That shit, I can fucking talk and I fucking back it up. Maybe we can chill later, we can laugh it up. Stupid bitch. Shawty talk too much, be quiet. Give no fucks, I'm just tryna get high. Me and Shawty, we gon' fuck all night. I'm only going for the bread, strict diet. Got a 10 in the DMs, tryna fuck with me. She know if she gets to fuck, it's a luxury. Bitch, you just got a fucking bag and you just fumbled. Bro, just took one hit of the cart, now we stumbled.
Yeah, Brody poppin' all that was so well. Sound like B code, all that shit, I don't know what you heard.
Oh shit.
Niggas fight it like a bird. Hey, yo, bitch, she with the cushy, get her talking like a flirt. And you know I'm going ape shit. New whip, and your bitch wearing basic. Hey, and this nigga on so lacy. Walking to the spot, couple niggas that I hate, bitch. Big racks on a boat, bitch. Cut this hoe, then I took her to the stove, bitch. Hit my line, be like, Brady, you record then. Yo, switching up for me, I'll buy a coach, bitch.
Shawty talk too much, be quiet. Give no fucks, I'm just tryna get high. Me and Shawty, we gon' fuck all night. I'm only going for the bread, strict diet. Got a 10 in the DMs, tryna fuck with me. She know if she gets to fuck, it's a luxury. Bitch, you just got a fucking bag and you just fumbled. Bro, just took one hit of the cart, now we stumbled.
Very tough. Oh shit. I love letting that ride out. Letting that shit ride out was crazy. Wow. All right, so let's get into it. Let's break this down because a lot to talk about. So sample's crazy right off the rip. But we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of the track. So, instrumental, great choice, great sample. Really, just going to like the roots of like almost trap metal to a degree, right? Like teetering on trap metal, but still very much trap. Super gritty, super muddy, but not too muddy, muddy in a good way. Everything in here, as far as the instrumental goes, is fantastic. Mix is great, nothing clashing too overbearing. Everyone's vocals sit nice, drums cut through nicely, 808 really shines. Sample selection is great, drum selection is great. Definitely nothing that like ultimately threw me off here at all, to be honest. So instrumental mix solid. Definitely not a shocker though. This is not one of those artists that I'm not surprised, but if you're new here, that's definitely something you want to point out for sure. So instrumental mix solid. For the instrumental shining star, I'm kind of tied between the sample and the 808. Sample and the 808, man. You know, the 808 is such like a big part of this. Like a really, really this massive part. But the sample is a really solid choice for those of you that know what the sample is. But I'm gonna have to go ahead and say drums just because it's real gritty, brings a lot of the attitude that this song needs. And there's almost like a third vocalist on the track, you know what I mean? So definitely the 808s for sure. And just drums in general, realistically. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix again. Both artists fantastic. Not really a shocker. Again, you know, like this is an artist who, overall, you can expect a really solid mix from, no matter what the style is. You know, but everybody sounds really solid on this. Nothing really clashing to overbearing. like I said, the vocals sit nice. That's also like a really big plus. Drums cut through nicely. Nothing that really like threw me off. But again, if you're new here, something you always want to point out. Very important. Um. Hmm. So, vocal shining star, man. There's a lot I like here. I like a lot of the attitude of the writing. I like the writing in general, right? But I think the thing that really like took it over the edge for me was the flow and cadence and delivery. The flow and cadence and delivery was like you don't hear Braden kind of do this type of flow. It's a very rare kind of flow. It's a very new kind of flow, right? And I think they did excellent with it. The flow cadence and delivery here was fantastic. It just put even more emphasis on the writing. So for me, flow, cadence, and delivery, 100%, 100%. Um, so instrumental solid, definitely the drums, vocal solid, definitely the flow, cadence, and delivery. Let's talk theme. So aesthetics. This is technically a early album drop, and what a picture! What a fucking picture this is. Again, the IRL pictures are always super fucking solid. You know what I mean? Always a big advocate for these, especially for full length projects, singles, almost anything realistically. But for projects, it's like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna be the final cover, but if it is, solid, definitely solid. So aesthetics, like, don't necessarily need to relate to the song, but this one definitely has that like project feel to it. So aesthetics absolutely on point. So overall theme, I mean, be quiet, right? It's realistically in the hook. So I wouldn't say that there's like a crazy underlying theme here. You have Braden really kind of staying on top of their like confidence, kind of like super spunky, almost somewhat with an attitude, but not like too crazy, right? Like I feel like it's just confidence. And I think a lot of artists need that regardless of what they kind of create genre wise, right? But this one, definitely one you want to pay attention for the lyrics, the writing, and pretty much the writing skill and lyrical talent here. There's a lot of like small bars to pick out, but at the end of the day, this is definitely one you got to appreciate for the lyrics, 100%. So with that said, a huge shout out to Braden. Thank you so much for this submission, friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Braden on SoundCloud. They are 2 followers away from 320. And of course, make sure you go follow Braden on Twitter. They are 2 followers again away from 60. So go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We're about 4 away. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a lot of good jazz over there. We'll show these artists in the channel some motherfucking love, baby. Let's get it. And of course, if you already have, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays, my friend. Much love. So, up next, we have the homie A Groovy Mind. Now, it's been a while since we heard from Groovy. I'd say like a month or so, but a very talented producer submitted a track titled For the Birds. Let's check this out. And we got a little SoundCloud upload as well, so always down. So let's pop this open a new tab. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's get into it. A Groovy Mind for the Birds. Let's go. Okay. Interesting. Solid structure. I see the vision, man. Great fade out too. Great fade out. Nice and long. The tweet at the end. Okay. So this one is really interesting for quite a few reasons here. Quite a few reasons. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it, man. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about two things here because obviously no vocals. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, and we're talking about the overall theme of this track. So, let's talk mix. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fucking fantastic. I mean, especially for like what it is too, right? Like it doesn't have a crazy amount going on, but it has enough as to where, you know, things need to be in their own separate places, right? As far as the mix goes. But here, everything's nice and level, nothing clashing, too overbearing. Melodies are great, drum selection's great. Nothing that like throws me off here at all. Yeah, no gripes on the instrumental mix. Definitely nice and crisp, clean, even for sure. Definitely. Um, Instrumental Shining Star. Now, this was a 5-minute track, but I will say the structure here was the big shine, right? Just because I feel like it dropped exactly when it needed to drop, just before it got too repetitive, right? And it came back in just when it needed to, like right on the money. You know what I mean? So it was very accurate in terms of structure. So yeah, I'm big on the structure, 100%. So um instrumental Shining Star, definitely a structure for sure. Um so instrumental solid. Let's talk theme. So, aesthetics for the birds. I mean, come on, like what that is a fantastic choice. Fantastic choice. 100%. Especially like the blue, no, it works perfectly. Especially for like the bird sample and everything, right? So aesthetics absolutely on point. No gripes there at all. Overall theme for the birds. I mean, probably somewhat inspired by the bird sample, but it's also one of those peaceful kind of spring, end of spring, May, June-ish summer tracks. But I feel like they really like hit the nail on the head as far as like a theme goes. Kind of like I was talking about with the last producer track, where all you have is really, you know, your titles, your instrumental, and your covers, right? To kind of like tell your story as far as instrumental tracks go. Um, so I really, really feel like they did a good job when it comes down to like really nailing and like explaining the theme in like a subtle way. So Well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to A Groovy Mind. Thank you so much for this submission. Much love. Make sure you go follow them on SoundCloud. They're 7 away from 60, man. And of course, make sure you go follow them on Twitter as well. They're 8 followers away from 1K. That is a fantastic milestone. 1K. Let's go. Go get groovy to 1K, man. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We upload 2 times a week, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, all that good jazz. Make sure you go show these artists in the channel some motherfucking love, baby. Let's get it. If you already have, thank you. Appreciate you here Mondays. I see you dropping likes, dropping comments. Even if you're just watching the videos, thank you, my friends. So, I believe we have a first-time submitting artist up next. So let's get into it. Marco Pernice. The Shock. Okay. Guitarist, composer, singer, producer, crossover, electro, funk, rock, new single out now. Okay, say less, Marco. All right, let's pop this open in a new tab, and let's see what we got. All right, first time submitting artist, Marco Pernice. The Shock. Well, let's get into it. Okay, Marco. Interesting.
Guilty for music, guilty for sex, guilty for freedom, another day being yourself. Guilty for music, guilty for sex, guilty for freedom, another day being yourself. Guilty for music, guilty for sex, guilty for freedom, another day being yourself.
Very interesting track. Very interesting, indeed. That was a wild first time submission, I won't lie. Their bio did mention that they're a little bit more experimental, right? So, that's definitely showing here for sure. But we're gonna talk about three things here. Or no, I'm sorry, we're gonna talk about two because minimal vocals here. A lot of it's just spoken word, kind of backing vocals, right? So not much lyrics to kind of dive into. So we're gonna talk about two things. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, and we're talking about the overall theme of this track. So again, a very experimental type of instrumental, trying to mix two sounds that are very like, I don't want to say polar opposites, right? But it's giving a very like pop experimental cross with like classic rock, kind of like heavy rock kind of deal, right? So I see the vision and what they're trying to achieve here. Um, Now this dropped in February of this year, so definitely not super old at all. But like I said, their bio does mention that they are experimental and they are kind of like crossing over a lot of genres, right? That's something you go into this knowing. But for a first time submitting artist, very interesting indeed. Um, let's talk about the mix. The mix is good. The mix is good. Nothing clashing too much. I think it's more so a clash of genre that is really really showing here. And that and like sound selection, right? A lot of the more popular sounds are very classic. A lot of the drums are kind of classic as well. Um, so it's definitely crossing over a lot of tastes and a lot of sounds for sure. But the mix itself is solid. Like I said, nothing clashing too much, nothing that's like overbearing or like sticking out. Nothing that I really have any gripes with, to be honest with you. So a solid mix for what this is, definitely. Um, like I always say, especially for it being a live instrument based instrumental, definitely can be like a bitch to mix. But this one's definitely hitting the mark for sure. No question. So, um, instrumental mix solid. Instrumental shining star. Um, you know, there's the drums are good. Drums are good. Some of the melodies are good, but I think the guitar solo that was in like the latter half of the song is definitely going to take the cake for me, just because I didn't really expect it, and it was actually really well done. So for me, kind of the latter half of the song with the guitar solo definitely shines for me. But the structure's up there too, especially with it being like somewhat of like a, it's not super long, it's about 4 minutes, but structure definitely kept up well for sure. So instrumental solid, definitely the guitar solo is the shining star, no doubt. Um, let's talk theme. Aesthetics. Definitely captures the vibe of the song, right? Definitely captures the chaos, the mix of sounds, the guitar, and you guys know how I feel about the IRL covers. So, really always kind of hits the mark no matter what you do with an IRL cover. And this is definitely one of those for me for sure. Solid for a single, definitely single worthy. And then you have the text in the top left, solid for sure. Especially gives like the listener a little bit of like a personality, you know. So aesthetics on point. Overall theme, the shock. Nothing that ultimately jumps out right on the first listen, but it's definitely one of those more like party kind of like, you know, fast moving, get up and dance kind of tracks. Like this one would definitely go well in like a throwback kind of retro vintage era club. I feel like this would be something that would be uh, super solid. Not even like a mainstream one, like kind of like an underground one for sure. But the goal here was definitely to get people moving and definitely like invoke some kind of feeling, 100%. And I think Marco did that for sure. The experimentalness and the crossover of genres is definitely one to be worked on, but you definitely got that, my friend. So, with that said, huge shout out to Marco. Make sure you go follow them on Spotify. And, of course, make sure you go follow them on Twitter. They're approaching 1.5K on the Bird apps. You go show them love over there on Twitter. And, of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And, of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, underground tips and tricks, all of the good jazz over there, man. Go show these artists in the channel some love. And of course, if you already have, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Let's get it. So, Let's see. Up next would be the homie Jordan, but we've already reacted to their track because they are Music Monday's Patreon, which has access to the Music Mondays Fast Pass. So huge shout out to Jordan for being a Music Mondays Patreon. And if you'd like to see us react to Rain, make sure you go check out the beginning of the show and go check out the show when it drops on all platforms later this week. All right, so one of the last artists of the night, David O'Lury, made a track titled 1230. I make great songs, all social media, David O'Lury. Okay, David, I see you. It is what it is. All right, first time submitting artist, man. Definitely don't know what we're about to expect. So we have an actually private track, so we're getting a little unreleased treatment here. All right, let's get into it. Going in blind, first time submitting artist, David O'Lury. Let's get into it.
Yeah. For my bitch. Yeah, hoes be jumping, beat be bobbing. I be like twerk something. She live like 12:30. Watch her step, you tripping. She be like hold something.
Okay.
I be like hey darling, I'm on that dome, tell me shit. She a topper, gas me up and I'm a bopper. She like go daddy, I'ma throw it back, just don't let go daddy. Back on all my bullshit, she got that red on, I'ma hunt for it. I'ma make her hum for it, prano harmonize for it. Like a little land on it, in the air like confetti. Bitch, I'm prime, so sit bunny. Ain't no nigga build like me. Brick by brick, I Franklin it. Benjamin, so bang on it. I don't fuck around in it. You can't even lie in it. Suck you like you smart, baby. Fuck you like I'm homeless. Like I'm homeless. This the place to be in it. I'm in charge of me, silly. Fuck around, get beamed ceiling. I ain't made a buck minute, but I know I'm the one. Only fire to the sun, Zimmy. Shorty got them buns oven. Heat up like the sun, dim it. And I'm trying to get warm in it. Right here, we don't play with it. I got me a Lola, and she fold up. Got me going dumb, baby. 2 to 3 to 4, baby. AC like Milan, baby. Cold like she done burn, baby. Tell me on a one, baby. I'm trying to feel some, baby. You my favorite one, baby. You my favorite one, baby.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, I be like, hoes be jumping. Yeah, bitch be bopping. I be like twerk something. She live like 12:30. Watch her step, you tripping. She be like hold something. I be like, hey darling, I'm on that dumb time. Yeah, hoes be jumping. Bitch be bopping. Yeah, twerk something. It's 12:30. Yeah, twerk something. It's 12:30. Yeah, twerk something. It's 12:30, bitch.
Oh my. Holy shit. Okay, that was a crazy first time submission. One of the best in recent times. Absolutely. Wow. All right. Let's break this down. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So, we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're talking about vocals, and we're talking about the overall theme of 1230. So, let's talk instrumental. Because this choice is fucking crazy. I really like this choice a lot. It has this like classic cloud feel with like a lot of modern sound. I'm a big fan of this choice. And this producer absolutely fucking killed this. So the mix is solid. Absolutely solid. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Vocals sit nice. Drums cut through nicely. 808s are good. Sound selection's good. Nothing throughout the whole track that really threw me off at all. So instrumental, absolutely solid. No question as far as the mix goes. Instrumental shining star just might be the melody. I'm not gonna lie to you, it just might be the melody. Drums are a close second, but the melody again has this cold, dark, cloud, night kind of feel to it. So for me, gotta be the melody. So instrumental solid, absolutely solid all the way around. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix is pretty solid, to be honest with you. Like it has this like raw element to it, but I think that's intended, right? Because this is giving like a little bit of like a freestyle kind of feel, but at the same time, like this is an artist who I assume has like a solid natural like raw voice. So again, that's something you want to like exploit and kind of let shine is their raw voice. But you can tell there's like a little bit of cleanup on here. It's pretty crispy and right where it needs to be for kind of like a moody track like this for sure. The mix is solid. And like I said, drums cut through nicely, vocals sit nice. Nothing that really, again, I had any gripes with, to be honest. Um, so vocal mix definitely solid. Vocal shining star. Now I'm kind of torn between the writing and the flow and cadence and delivery. The writing is great though. The writing is really really great, but I think I'm gonna go with flow, cadence, and delivery. Just because the flow again just makes you pay attention to the writing and the way that they kind of rode this beat was crazy. So to me, flow, cadence, and delivery, but the writing and the hook are a good second for sure. They're a good second. So instrumental solid, definitely the melody. Vocal solid, definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Talk theme. So aesthetics, definitely a private track, obviously. So you kind of get the default profile picture until you add a cover, which is fine, right? I mean, this is definitely not like a final cover or anything like that. So we're gonna keep it private, and of course when this drops, I'm sure they'll have another final. So overall theme, obviously 1230 is a metaphor for kind of like relations with a partner or anything like that, right? Like there's a lot of like clever lines and bars in here that you're like, okay. But it gives off a very like solid freestyle kind of vibe. But not really though, because the bars are very like well constructed and thought out. So it gives this like effortless kind of vibe, but it works super well. It works super. So not really a theme that like ultimately jumps out at you, right? But it's definitely like one of those late night smoke and chill kind of tracks, and you're definitely gonna remember that for sure. Just because if this comes on at the right time, super late, you're gonna be like, damn, holy shit. So definitely a track that you need to dissect the lyrics for, and definitely just appreciate the writing, without a doubt. With that said, huge shout out to David and Lori. Thank you so much for this, friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow them on Twitter. They're approaching 280, 290. They're about 4 away. So go show them some love over there on the Bird app, my friend. And of course, make sure you go follow them on SoundCloud as well. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, all that good jazz over there. So make sure you go show these artists in the channel some love. And if you already have, thank you. Appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Let's get it. So, huge shout out to David, man. That was a crazy first time submission. Up next would be the homie Pana, but they do not follow Music Mondays on Twitter. So, again, just a reminder, make sure you're following Music Mondays on Twitter before you submit, because submissions are free. They always have been free. They always will be free. But the only thing we do ask is that you're following us on Twitter to not only spread our message and things like that, but just to pay respect to everybody else that does follow Music Mondays and does wait for their tracks to be reacted to every single week. So, I believe we have one more submission left because we did get a boatload of artists that do not follow Music Mondays on Twitter. So we have to prioritize everybody that does follow directions. Again, that's something we explain at the start of every single show. So make sure you watch the show all the way through and get all the information for the Music Mondays podcast, or check out the tweets and graphics in detail. But feel free to resubmit after you follow Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. But last but not least, the homie Evan J and Alan K submitted by their manager Liz. So, a very talented duo here. Both of these artists are super talented vocalists. But they submitted a track titled "Money Run" featuring Alan K. So, let's pop this open a new tab. Let's see what we got here. We are down. All right, let's get into it. Kevin J Beats, Alan K, Money Run. Let's go.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Oh shit.
She been going savage, breaking in the mattress. Holla at me, baby, couple blunts and I know we smash. Beat that pussy with a passion, doing shit you can't imagine. I'm telling you, bitch, I ain't asking. Come and fuck with me tonight. Hold up, wait. Make that money, bitch, get paid. I don't know your name, still gon' fuck you anyway. Slide on that ball, smoke you and all. Call on the homies, they ready to go. Bitch, I'm a pimp and you already know. Send me the Addy, bitch, I like it low.
Automatic, the truth is in gold. Hit on my job, I'm punching them all. I stay for what's mine. Stand on my toes, stand on the bridge, stays on my clothes. Yeah, I'ma drop a bomb on the bed. Taking shot, she gon' throw it back for the dish. She a super free, only fan, 7 days a week. Pussy got the pouch, she don't gotta ever pay the lead.
She ain't fucking with them man. You busy fucking with them boys. You busy hiding in your house while I'm out here making noise. Fuck with me and that's a bad job. Pull up with the mask on, slay you like a dragon. My new bitch is an idol.
Papa dot, Papa cow, switching style.
Block is hot,
Party never stop.
Shawty made the milli run. High fashion, put her in designer, now she acting bougie, cash in hand. She ain't used to all the money, on them average man. So you're not like anybody, I'm #1, you are below. Come on, respect, don't call me red all.
Come on, table, that she just pulled up in a Range Rover. Get that bitch a makeover. Cooking crack with baking soda. Set the pace, I need the quota. Send that shit to North Dakota. Call that shit Coca-Cola. Big boss, Casanova. Fuck what you need, I'm from the east. Put with the Z, I eat it with these. Eat it with cheese, eat it for dinner. 360 degree ice. Cold as the winter, we roll with the winners. That bitch is too hot, so I told her to simmer. I'm shooting my shot, was born as a sinner.
Don't make me do nothing, I'm gon' regret now. You got something to say that shit with your chest now. Pussy and that shit is not a flex. You type to talk that shit, but you don't ever get to stepping on. The kind of motherfucker that gets scared and grabs a weapon, y'all. You a cold bitch, I say that shit with my own lips. You can hate, but I'll never lose focus. Still on the block with my homies. You a bitch, motherfucker, you boneless. Paper in my pockets are swollen. No security when we out rolling. Bitch, I stay in my lane like I'm bowling.
Swimming or dipping your toes in. Cracked all the codes we chosen. Count my hundreds of roses. Make no sense, he's zoning.
Pop a dog, money shot on the yacht, yeah. Hit the spot, get the guap, I'ma make it, yeah. Bitches really fucking with me, you a little cunt. Get the fucking money, baby, if you wanna. Money over bitches, baby, there's some money run, yeah. Circle getting tight, about to blow up like a bomb.
Okay. Wow. Solid. Real solid. I mean, realistically, I think the description kind of describes this really well. Mainstream talk shit, trap, rap blended with melodic rap. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description, I won't lie. So, much to talk about, much to discuss. Let's get into it. Let's break it down. Let's talk about it. So, we're going to talk about 3 things here. We're going to talk about the instrumental, we're going to talk about vocals, and we're going to talk about the overall theme of Money Run. So, instrumental. I mean, like, truly the definition of modern trap, right? But it still has like a lot of like uniqueness to it. Like you can tell it's not like a type beat. You know what I mean? It has a lot of like originality to it, especially with the melody. So I like the choice a lot, definitely. Instrumental mix, fantastic. Not really a shocker though. Alan K and Kevin are 2 artists that usually have a pretty consistent mix when it comes down to their production and their vocals. But for anybody new here, that's something you always want to point out, right? But this mix is fantastic. Nothing clashing, to overbearing. Nothing that really like throws it off or anything like that. Nice and crisp, loud. Not too loud though. Kind of sitting right where it needs to be for sure. So, instrumental mix solid. Instrumental shining star. You know the structure's up there, but I really am gonna go with the drums. Drums bring a lot of like the grit and the attitude that this kind of needed. Because the melody is very like it's filled with personality, right? It's almost somewhat of like a theatrical melody. So the drums kind of level it back down and bring it back down to like trap hip hop kind of level, right? So for me, drums definitely, absolutely, but structure's like a close second. So instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix, much like the instrumental, not really a shocker that their vocals sound really crisp and solid. Everything sits well in the instrumental. Again, nothing clashing to overbearing. It's not really fighting with anything. So that's a big part of this is like it actually being super consistent, much like the instrumental. Um, but again, something I always want to point out if you're new here, not everybody knows that. But again, not really a shocker. Definitely not really a shocker at all. But super solid vocal mix. Everyone's vocals sound fantastic. Vocal shining star. Writing's up there, right? Because it really is like that talk shit kind of trap. But I kind of want to go with flowing cadence and delivery, right? Because the flowing cadence and delivery, again, like a few songs tonight, kind of make you like focus even more on the lyrics, right? So if you're really like writing this instrumental, it kind of puts more emphasis on the lyrics, without a doubt. So for me, flowing cadence and delivery, but writing's a close second. Even the hook, more specifically, is a close second, but flowing cadence and delivery for sure. So instrumental solid, vocal solid. Let's talk theme, aesthetics. Money Run. I mean, definitely went with a more like anime-esque kind of cover here, which I think really rocks. This one definitely like has a lot of spice to it, right? Like it's one of those covers that the more you look at it, the more you kind of see, right? Especially like the parental advisory kind of like blended in on the bottom right. Like I think a lot of the small things here are fantastic, especially like the cop in the top right. Like the more you see, the more you kind of like unravel here. So cover is definitely solid, no doubt. Especially for like a good like premiere single, that cover definitely hits for sure. Overall theme, I mean, you kind of could like refer back to the description, right? I mean, mainstream talk shit trap rap. It's definitely along those lines as to where you want to pay attention to the lyrical ability and the writing here more than anything. I wouldn't look too hard for a theme. It's definitely one of those more like turn up, late night party, really like almost somewhat of like a get motivated kind of track too. It's definitely one of those that like pushes a little bit of all boundaries and feelings. But again, this is one that I would focus on the writing and the lyrical content here for sure, especially like the lyrical skill from both of them. With that said, huge shout out to Kevin and Alak. Thank you guys so much for the submission. Make sure you go follow Kevin on SoundCloud. They're approaching 1.1K on the cloud, so go show them some love over there, man. And of course, make sure you follow Liz on Twitter. They're approaching almost 100, 30 away from 100 or 10 away from 80. So make sure you go show them some love over there on Twitter. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 280 subscribers. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, Saturday. Full podcast episodes. A lot of good jazz over there. Make sure you go show these artists in the channel. So baby, let's get it. If you already have, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays, my friends. Let's go. So, that does it for tonight's submissions, my friends. That was episode 174 of the Music Mondays podcast. Let's close it out. Let's talk about what's coming over the course of the next week. Let's say some goodbyes. Let's talk for a bit. Let's get some shout-outs, too, of course, right? So, with that said, huge shout-out to everybody in the chat tonight. Huge shout-out to everybody that came through, showed love, chatted, lurked, chilled, anything that you did and you showed up tonight. Thank you. Huge shout out to Drama Eyes, huge shout out to Jaded, huge shout out to Ree, huge shout out to Drama Eyes for the follow. Thank you so much. And anybody else that came through and lurked and chilled. Oh, huge shout out to Jordan as well. All you guys are amazing. So thank you for coming through, supporting the stream. Even if you just lurked, man, I appreciate you. Thank you. Huge shout out to everybody that submitted tonight. Huge shout out to our Patreons, Drama Eyes, Jordan, Ryuki, King Mark, Blank Dot, Kruger. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Huge shout out to all of our submissions tonight. Sam's Raps, Onwuka, Survival Negativity, Gross, Offspring Mysterious, Industrial One, Dry My Eyes, Braden, A Groovy Mind, Marco, Jordan, David, and Alan K and Kevin J Beats. Thank you guys so much for your submission. Much love. And of course, the top 3 artists of tonight's episode will be tweeted out as soon as the show goes offline. So make sure you stay that. But again, per usual, thank you guys for coming through, tuning in, and showing love to the Music Mondays podcast once again. So, a couple things. Merch is available right now, so make sure you hit us up if you'd like to. Monday's Basic Logo t-shirt. You'll see some promotion go out for that week. So make sure you go check that out, ASAP Rocky. And of course, Curing Cases of the Mondays Collection 2 submissions, which is our second SoundCloud album of exclusive tracks from artists, are open now. So make sure you get your tracks in. And of course, we're going to be talking about that a lot this week. So you get your tracks in if you're interested, and send us a message if you have any questions about Curing Cases of Mondays, or just join the Discord because we're going to have a lot of goodies going down there as well. And of course, submissions open for next week's episode of the Music Mondays podcast, episode 175, tomorrow. So if you're watching this live, submissions will be open on the 21st. If you're watching this anywhere else, YouTube, Spotify, or anything like that, submissions are already open. Make sure you go get your tracks in, and make sure you get yours on time. So, per usual, the audio version of this podcast will be available this Thursday on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and on all that good jazz. And of course, the YouTube re-upload will be available this Saturday. So make sure you tune in and pay attention to those. And of course, you can stream all the Music Mondays episodes on anchor.fm/allmusicmondays. And per usual, make sure you follow Music Mondays at All Music Mondays. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, all that good jazz, man. We're pretty much everywhere. So make sure you tune in and go show us some love wherever you're at. And of course, make sure you follow me at Zalma Slays. We're streaming like 5 days a week, man. So make sure you come through, watch party stuff, speedrun stuff, all that good jazz. So make sure you come through, show the channel some love. And of course, I'll be live tomorrow, per usual, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you next week for episode 175 of the Music Mondays podcast, my friends. Stay tuned. Huge shout out to all you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming through, showing love. I love every single one of you. Be safe. Take care. And we'll see you next week and tomorrow for episode 175 of the Music Mondays podcast.